What's up, everybody? What a beautiful Thursday it is, and here we are gathered to watch some Victoris Legends Series playoffs action. I'm Beautiful Crow, joined by Loki and Becky, and we're into the semifinals matchup between Akuma Esports and UCD Gold. It's a rematch, guys. A rematch in Group B, all the way from Week 8, where Akuma did get the 2-0. So, can UCD get the glorious revenge and knock them out of playoffs, or are we looking at a quick game today?
I think we might be looking at a quick game, but there is something certainly to be said for having the ability to go back, watch the VOD, and understand in a low pressure situation why you were struggling to win in a certain matchup. If they are interested in picking the same maps and just being able to really take from that firsthand experience that they have playing against Akuma, we might actually see UCD come back with something a little more exciting this time.
Yeah, no. I know we're talking about having an early night. I'm expecting it to be about 4 games. They have that time to sit down, reflect, and UCD has made it this far in the end. They aren't here quite as convincingly as Akuma, who are looking like we're going to need to see a bit of a king breaker to be able to get that one, but might be up for a couple games.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it is a best of five. It is a different monster than, a best of three. There is that extra game for improvement and adjustments being made. If we can quickly get a look at that playoffs bracket to look at our journey that we have been through so far here in the VLS playoffs, we can pull that up. It's been a pretty interesting one. I know we did have a few FFs throughout, unfortunately. But it's the rest of the field that is here to play is definitely here to play. And honestly, it's been fun. There's lots of matchups that I would have loved to watch personally myself. Um, namely that Humber versus Colossal one in the round of 16. That would have been insane to watch to get that going through how that went to all three games. But yeah, coming into this one, I know you see they got here through an FF because unfortunately V.exe could not get the scheduling down and could not get enough players ready to play, which is sad to see because V.exe versus Akuma probably would have been like match of playoffs if we actually did get to see that. But that did present them with an opportunity to go further as they did 2-0 their round of 16 opponent in Planks to put them in this crazy Group B rematch. I got to come to you guys. Out of all the playoffs games that have happened already, which one do you think, which one that you had seen or did not see that would have been your favorite? I'll start with
Oh.
Becky.
Okay, so the other semifinals match that is here is the Overdose versus Noxious, and I'm a little sad that we're not getting to see that one because I feel like that's got to be a really close match across multiple different leagues and different places. I have seen both of those teams play, and I think that they would have had, or they're going to have, a very close match, and that's got to be a really exciting one as well. Overdose did beat Fluid Gaming 2-0, which last week, which I am a little surprised by. I've seen Fluid Gaming play a lot as well, and I've seen them do very well in a lot of these kind of smaller leagues. And so I'm a little surprised that they kind of went down 2-0, but Overdose, certainly a team that has been together for a while and a team that is playing pretty strongly and showing it off with a lot of 2-0s and also just getting that immediate slide into quarterfinals here, kind of like Akuma. I mean, so we've from the start of this league, you've always said watch Akuma. So, and as Crow has said, Akuma have been just slaughtering so many of these teams, and I mean, it says a lot. They're in the semifinals again, had that slide into quarterfinals as well. And one of the teams that I was most excited to see and excited to see grow was that Nameless esports squad that they did take down last week. So a little sad that Nameless aren't getting a little bit further, but all things considered, for those having been two teams that we've said to watch from the start, I am pretty excited with how it shook up and how far they got as well.
Yeah, for sure. Loki, your thoughts on the bracket and how it shaped off this journey so far?
Honestly, I just enjoy seeing an 8-0 from Akuma, and I wish I was able to sit around to be able to see more of their games to see such a dominant front since we've had Degrees and Demo as some of the main fraggers. And it's really weird coming out of my mouth hearing a Sentinel being the main fragger for a team, but when they're running a Cypher or KJ, having that support system goes a long way, especially on a lot of the maps that I've been seeing favorited, like those early binds. And while it was in rotation, Split was a lot of fun at just watching these players make those little chokes come to such huge heads. But going into this game, I want to see Esperanto hitting every bit of util to be able to try to make things a little bit scary.
I feel that. I feel that indeed. Yeah, it's this matchup has the potential to be a really big banger. The practice time from those few weeks from the regular season to the playoffs. Sometimes teams come alive during playoffs and they don't play the same that they did during regular season play, and that could very well be the case here for UCD. It definitely is a case of David versus Goliath or Giant Slayer, whatever have you, whatever story you want to go to, but they're not 100% out. Sure, they're going up against Akuma, who I did predict to win the whole thing. But there's always a chance, Like, yeah, Akuma's undefeated up to this point. The chance, I think the saying is what? The chances are low, but never 0%. So in any given situation, there is a way for them to get an upset, right? So it's it's a tough hill for UCD to climb to get to our finals. But for Akuma, they also playing with that pressure of, can they keep this perfection up? Can they maintain this absolute aura of just undefeatedness coming through? Like, are they going to just completely sweep the entire playoffs bracket without dropping a single game? We're still waiting for all the maps to come through and everybody to get into their positions before we get into that. But so I quickly got to ask, for the summer split, what was the one team that really surprised you now that we are all the way here in semifinals? And what is the one team that you just expected to just run through everything? I already have mine. It's just pretty obvious.
I kind of mentioned it. I thought that Fluid Gaming was gonna do kind of a little bit
Yeah,
better. Thought that they would get a little bit further. If you'd have shown me Overdose Gaming versus Fluid Gaming, I probably would have picked Fluid Gaming over Overdose. That being said, that probably makes Overdose my like surprise pick for somebody who's done a lot better than I maybe anticipated for them to end up to this point. It shows that they've grown a lot as a team since one of the last times that I got to cast their matches, and I think that that's a really great sign, and so props to them, and I'm excited to hear about how that semifinals match between Overdose and Noxious ends up shaking up.
for sure, for sure. And Loki, how are you feeling about this teams? Which one really was like just a welcome surprise to you on how they did throughout the regular season and in playoffs? And what was that one team that you're just like, yeah, that looks about right. They did what I thought they would do.
Um, Looking at the standings, because I didn't get a lot of time to sit down and watch all of
Mhm,
these games myself, so I was spending a little bit of time trying to play catch up with that.
mhm.
Akuma gonna be the stand-in as someone who can respect a fellow with a crystal ball looking at you, Crow. It's not very surprising that they're able to pull such a strong team together, but I think Noxious gets my vote as a little bit of that surprise hitter, getting to be able to be second round off a bye in our split to be able to bring themselves into Colossal Gaming, come over to Overdose Gaming, and that's going to be potentially a very interesting match to watch.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. And yeah, just it's been so much fun. Like, honestly, coming into this, getting everything together, like seeing how the league has formed up all the way through here. And it's just, oh my goodness. Like, we're getting into this, we're in the semifinals now, It's this week and then next week and then we're done. And it's just been so much fun to watch these teams grow and just completely come into their own. I have to ask though, keys to victory for this matchup for UCD, what are they going to need to do?
Ooh. That's a rough question. I think that again, my biggest thing is this is a rematch, and I'm really hoping that we do get to see the growth that has happened. Hopefully, they've reviewed those previous matches that they played against Akuma, and they've learned a little bit about how Akuma function and are coming with a plan and are ready to execute on it, saying that we understand how we lost those matches before, and we're looking to not lose in exactly the same way. And if you lose in a different way, but you were able to grow and at least like try to understand how you were taken down previously, I think that that is like more than enough, especially when you're going up against a team like Akuma.
All right, cool, cool. Lucky coming to you. What do you think the keys to victory are for either of these teams to claim this semifinal matchup?
Ooh, I mean, if Akuma's gonna take it, they're gonna keep rolling with how they've been so far. These very convincing, very dominant, quick games. I didn't see many that even went to a 13-9. So they've been able to keep sprints going very quickly. Maybe they'll run out of steam in the later games as we get going. But if UCD Gold's going to take it, they need to be able to shut down Degrees and be able to keep track of Ahira and Demo.
Yes, sir. I totally get it. Totally have heard it. We've talked long enough. I'm going to step away for a moment. I'm going to let my casters do what they do best as we do get into this game one between Akuma Esports and UCD Gold here in the semifinal matchup.
Ooh. All right, getting right down into it, we will be going to Breeze as our first match. And personally, I think that this map is a little bit solved, and I think that it's solved because you end up seeing the exact same 5 agents locked in all the time. And as I say that, we have pretty much a swift of 5v5 exact mirror match all lined up. What do you think of this team composition, and do you think that there is any wiggle room for it on a map like Breeze?
So I'm really biased. I enjoy the newer agent Fade, being able to play around with the Prowlers to be able to get your spotting out that way, especially along those Viper walls. Just having the Prowler pop out to add a little bit of extra cover when you have players like Degrees of C16 diving into the backline to be able to clear up a lot more space on A site, especially. That's the most classic case for it. But I've also seen small arguments where I'd like to wiggle in a Cypher once in a while and place to the chamber, actually.
Choose
Get
your
that trip
agent.
on tunnel, get that trip on B main, and you have that anchored pretty well, as you have the Viper to be able to provide assistance across the entire map. I'm not sure you can argue much for replacing Sova, though. The Hunter's Fury, just very consistent on the post plant, those shock bolts as well, when you got lineup Larrys on deck. And we're at the stage where both of these Sovas are going to be having a very expansive repertoire of lineups at their disposal.
Yeah, we're finally at the point where a lot of these agents have been out for a long time, and Bree's been out for quite some time now as well, so getting to see a lot of people, as you mentioned, those lineup Larrys, so seeing that on the Sova as well as likely the Viper as well is usually an agent that we get to see have a pretty strong lineup synergy with this map as we get right down into it, load up on to the sunny set of Breeze. If you're one of those people living in a heat wave state right now, Breeze maybe doesn't look the nicest to you, but to our players, this looks like a great place to start off their journey through this semifinals match.
Just gonna have to kick off a little bit of dust, warm those hands up by the heat sink of the CPU, and get right on into it. I don't know how I'm gonna be feeling as we have the knives going back and forth. Really widespread default. Shatter's gonna be getting the first pick onto C16 though, as well as the spread onto Benez. Flash drive going out, but for the most part, they've already done the damage they need to do. The rest of their team coming in to try to sweep this really fast. Benez is very low. The shots are going out. There's one more. Esperanto is gonna be getting their mirror matchup down, but here comes the onslaught. Dem from behind, grabbing Esperanto. Various, we're getting the bomb down. We're gonna have some money to work with. The snake bites not quite landing as Demo on this flank, making their way up.
Here.
Trap is set. Hunter's Fury,
Last
one shots
player
out there.
standing.
We go. Various and Nick will both fall, making it a very swift first round going for Akuma.
Yeah, and we kind of expected this. I mean, we definitely expect Akuma to be the strong Goliath, as Crow mentioned, coming into this map, waiting to see who is going to be the one to pick up this ult pip and gather some extra little gunfire here as well. But you got to give props side of UCD, at least despite being in a 2v4 situation, they were still able to at least get enough space that they could get down onto that A site and get that bomb planted, as you mentioned, collecting those extra credits and hopefully just allowing them to continue to build that up and keep themselves in an okay place in this game going forward. We will be seeing them actually force up here, all buying Spectre's light armor and digging deep into those pockets. This is an aggressive strategy.
I mean, maybe they've been playing around with some magic beans all along, and this counterforce is going to be their strategy for dealing with the aggression that comes with sides like Akuma, who are so confident in these early rounds. But we have Esperanto creeping up with C16, getting ready to pop with the charge right into the hands of Demo. There's the knife, pop the suppress, and now Demo can't go anywhere. It's gonna keep right on C16, but there's the rest of the team. Esperanto will be the one making sure they fall. Degrees is in the back of sight. There's a shot from the Sheriff going out, a little bit of tagging, but they're going too wide. Various going to be picking up this bomb site. Here we have it, 3 versus 4. The bomb's ticking, and Ahira onto Benes with the Marshall. Making this a little bit more winnable. A 3 versus 3. No one's showing one way or another. Here's the pop flash from Esperanto, but Franks is all the way up here. Gonna be pinging one out. There's a flash drive.
Enemy remaining.
Shock bolt as well. Everyone's gonna fall. You blink and you're gonna miss this post plant. But Various is gonna try to stay up a little bit longer. Suppressed. You can't shock bolt this bomb anymore. And there's the Ferrari peak to be able to close out another round. It looked so good for a second for UCD.
Yeah, I think they had the right idea, and I liked how it did kind of start to come together. The aggression was really good. Ultimately, that post-plant setup just kind of falling into place not as nicely as you would have liked it to, and I think that just speaks to the retake potential that you're getting to see from Akuma. It is worth mentioning that Akuma have picked a defense start for most of the maps that they had the opportunity to pick that up on. So that says a lot about how strong they think their defense can get them started off, get them a lot of wins early, and that they're trying to then play around after.
But Nick, with a little bit of an upset, is going to be taking a rifle away from Akuma. There goes Shattered's head, popped right off. We have mid control going over for the side of UCD, making their way slowly up A, teetering around Frank's toxic screen, and just trying to keep their heads out of Demo's crosshair just a little bit longer. While everyone gets situated, Aldrin will be spotting out Franks, and there's the tap from the Marshall. They're going to be forced to fall back just a little bit, but Demo on this flank, he's going to be creeping up along the toxic screen. No one spots him out. Here's the trigger discipline. There's one. Popping 2. Almost got sprayed on for a third. Here's the headhunter. 3 shots left in the chamber. C16 will fall. Only 2 bodies left up for UCD. Benes is going to be trying to claw back just a little bit of space on this map, but it might just be it. Franks, their back is completely exposed. The shot goes a little bit wide, but they're able to get the flick in time. Trying to isolate Demo now, but they might just get timing. Marshall comes out and Bulldog will spray down. Here's the headhunter. That's an ace for Demo.
Fantastic.
Beautifully done from Demo. That lurk getting a ton of equity there, and we were kind of talking about it before we even got onto the desk, got into this game, how we are seeing these score lines that definitely show off the lurking potential that a lot of players on Akuma actually have, and some kind of surprising KDAs for a lot of professionals that can get picked up, and as a result, Force Force is going to immediately come out from Demo and is going to just be an absolute menace on this long-range angle map, and UCD better watch their backs.
Yeah, gotta be a little bit more conscious of these flanks. UCD's been doing a really good job of fanning out to be able to try to do a little bit of damage, cause some chaos, get these sites, but inevitably we're finding Akuma is able to wedge their way behind one by one and rip everything apart like a little house of cards, as it looks like UCD is going to be changing up their approach. B site's completely open for them, so they just need to execute it in a moment here. Ahira going to be sitting mid, looking to play potentially a retake here instead, while they have people still making noise. There goes the null command, not going to be tagging anyone as they come onto an open site. Shattered looking to intercept 1 or 2. There goes Nick. First burst of a Bulldog, no poison orb, no toxic screen. It's a lot of post plant on as Degrees is able to grab Benes. We might not even get into the late stages of this post plant as C16 is going to be looking to intercept. Esperanto is going to be falling right behind him. There goes Degrees. We're seeing doubles for Franks going down as well. We're trying to this together, but Demo with the Tour de Force is gonna lay down the law and bring us to a 4-0.
C16 was almost able to bring that back with such a flashy fashion. Unfortunately, just barely not able to grab that kill. That Tour de Force packed a little bit more of a punch than that Vandal there. Unfortunately, I think a huge thing for UCD is losing that Viper very first. It's so hard to set up your post plant, especially on Breeze, if your controller that is your Viper goes down. You mentioned it, no toxic orb, no screen, and nothing. You don't have any way to deny that vision and allow for all of the remaining alive members to go and set themselves up and get themselves into position to combat the retake strategies that Akuma is bringing. So you really need to make sure that that Viper stays alive. Get out of my way! Maybe try to get that duelist a little more aggressive here. Nick with a nice start though.
Yeah, we have Nick starting off the round this time. Fighting to make this concentration happen, gonna be wanting to pick up that rifle in a moment. But Frank's gonna be taking their own frag across the map. UCD is spread very thin, gonna have to start collapsing together soon since Esperanto's getting that bomb down. C16 has the knives to go wide. Spots how Shattered gonna be seeing 2 left, 1 left, and a Dream gonna have to get a really nice tap to hit the reset city here. The flash drive not full blinding, but Shattered gonna be shutting any hope down with flashy play this round as Nick's gonna be grabbing one back. Esperanto caught in a corner. There's the recon bolt to spot him out. Milkman trying to be able to get some vision back. Know who's shoving up, but it's all for naught for a moment here as Nick is gonna have some sprays back. He'll be able to try to hold this. There goes Ahira. But Frank's gonna be taking them down. Now it's down to Benes. He'll try to hold this with the Headhunter in hand. They're just gonna be sticking it. Crows don't fake with Grease, but so will Frank's bringing us around for UCD.
All right, and what a round, as a lot of people from UCD were on lighter buys that round as well. So not only was it a clutch coming out from that chamber, but absolutely huge for the economy side as well, since they were pretty much working with sheriffs, headhunters, the whole gang on those lighter buys. So a great round to win, and definitely going to be a bolster to that morale for this UCD squad. There is a chance to get some of these strategies that are a little more crafty to be able to push through Akuma's defense here, and hopefully they're able to
You
learn
want to play? Let's play.
Sheriff, Headhunters, and Marshals, oh my, but we have a Tour de Force coming out with Benes. Be able to try to keep that econ nice and strong in a Viper's Pit. Block off tubes. We have Ahira with the Owl Drone. Might be spotting out some players soon. There's C16 and Esperanto. Caught hands down for a moment. C16, you know, they're no problem for Benes to be able to grab Ahira from downtown with the Tour de Force, getting that little bit of a lead on numbers early on. Shockbolt, never know just how close that was to being able to tag Demo fully. Shots are gonna go back and forth.
Spike down,
spike down over by Spawn, and they're gonna have to make a rendezvous at the next location. Have the Vandal in hand. Shot goes a little bit wide on Nick. Here's the recon bolt. You hear the Hunter's Fury. Currently, Various is the Hunter, almost able to lock down Demo. This bomb's gonna start to go down. Shattered.
Spike down, A.
No command still ticking. Nick's able to grab Demo. Freeze gonna be trying to hold it all together, but the shots go a little bit wide on Nick.
Yeah, Various, nice little back and forth there. The movement certainly in favor for UCD that round, showing off very nicely for Various there. The Hunter's Fury came out and did a good amount of damage as well, so just great utility usage all across the board coming out from Various on this Sova. Now we get to see Nick, who is top of the board here, ready with that Viper's Pit for the attacking side, so that'll also help pack a little bit of punch. They did have a little bit of trouble planting, so it was good that they were able to get those kills, because I think otherwise they would have ran into a rough situation with their flamer dying trying to get that to go through. But now, hopefully it'll be a little bit easier when you've got all those toxins to fill the air.
Yeah, gonna be just a little bit toxic to Kuma's health as we're getting into late stages of this round. Kuma kind of broke, but Degrees and Shattered are going to be good for being able to pull this together. So is Frank's holding people down as things might come to a head in a second round. Elbow, Ahira's Owl Drone didn't quite get to spot anyone out, but Demo might just wind up being first contact anywhere as the here going a little bit blind. Degrees not able to hit their shots onto Nick. Up to 50 HP in the forced position for it, and Demo couldn't decide. It's called by Venice with the op. Shattered's gonna be in the back of this site, holding it down the fort for as long as they can. There they fall. Right now, though, coming out behind just a little
Last
bit.
player
Continuing
standing.
to tick down. Degrees is gonna get grabbed by Various, but bomb denied by Ahira. Venice, the long arm of the law right now.
Yeah, doing a great job, and that's kind of what you want to be seeing from your chamber, going for all of those long-range angles. We've talked about it so much as you go for those jet fights, those jet duels with the operators. You'll see it all the time, and now it's starting to be an extreme thing where you're actually seeing those duels go down to the chambers with those rendezvous and that long-range weaponry. We saw it in that last round, and Venice being able to take out Demo was just like, all right, let's go. That chamber is down, and we're able to really push onto this site, and now we're being able to just leave a beautiful
One enemy
started off
remaining.
from Venice. Whoa!
You blinked and you missed it. Demo's gonna be the last one to fall. Your entire team taken to the Shadow Realm, but that's about save round for you.
Right, and now all of a sudden at a 4-2-4 here, very flashy last round, and a beautiful demonstration that you do need to keep watching this UCD squad. They just might surprise you, and they've been able to hold on to enough rounds. Their economy is looking really strong. Venice gets to keep holding onto this operator, and they're able to continue to get these old pips ready to go. Hunter's Fury and Tour de Force already back online.
Yeah, we hear the blades coming out from Degrees as well. So this might be a bit of a spicy round as Shatter's gonna have a fragment to try to hold two. The doors open. Frank's gonna grab C16. Not quite able to get themselves on the board with that jet as Shattered coming up onto the stairs. Is gonna be trying to hold everything off. The toxic screens are up. The Nip duel is gonna be going the way of the KO here. Down to
Last
point
player
for
standing.
Venice, almost coming out on top completely here. Various left all on their lonesome though. Gonna get taken out by the Reset City.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a sad situation there, aiming just a little bit low. Once that jet goes into the air, it's so hard to move yourself into position to be able to hit those shots, and unfortunately for Various, that's just not how it was meant to be. And Akuma find themselves around back into their favor, get themselves that lead again, but close on their tail. UCD are here, and as I mentioned, that Tour de Force and that Hunter's Fury now ready to go off of the 1 kill and those deaths gathered from that last round.
You
So
want to
we'll be
play?
gonna
Let's
utilize
play.
that Tour de Force as that voice line comes out.
Yeah, we're gonna be seeing a lot of fun point and click adventures. It looks like UCD gonna just be roaming around trying to figure out where they want to go. The Owl Drone coming out for Various. Gonna be spotting out a couple members of Akuma here. Shot out by an op. Talk about swatting a fly with a house. Degrees looking to push up grabs Esperanto. And that's a very important pick to start us off.
That was so unfortunate too. Esperanto blinded themselves, and Venice
Lost in
at
sight.
least able to eat it up.
Looks like C16 is trying to keep
Welcome to
hold of
my
mid.
world.
Here comes the Viper's Pit, though. Try to secure around onto that B site. We have the Tour de Force ticking as well. Things might just be getting hairy for Akuma in a second here. C16 has a beautiful angle onto mid. And a little bit of wiggle peek shot goes wide. Venice has 3 more to work with. Seeing it just get thrown all away. The knife of a century as Akuma's making their way up through these poison orbs. Fragment going right at their toes too. Back in hand, no longer suppressed. Gonna get caught from the back by Shattered though. And here's the bomb tap. The Hunter's Fury gonna be holding it down. The Viper's Pit will drop.
One
C16
enemy
gonna
remaining.
start to get a little bit online. Classic in hand.
Last
Bomb
player
ticking down.
standing.
Shattered's gonna have to die to it. All at the end of this round. Everyone falls.
Everyone falls, but the team that's really going to be hurting after that is going to be Akuma, just a little bit more than UCD here because that economy is still recovering from those 4 losses in a row. So some players able to go for full buys or at least go for those rifles and shields, but ultimately it looks like we're potentially just going to see a save or a hero rifle situation as a result of that rough economy. And there's something to be said for the communication that was happening there. Venice was trying to hold down with that tour de force in the corner, and the communication from Akuma to push simultaneously from 2 different angles and just make it be a 1-for-1 or a 1-for-0 situation. Beautifully done, and something to continue to watch throughout this game.
Akuma's communication has been amazing so far. We're seeing gunfights back and forth on different edges of the map. UCD does have B convincingly. A C16 is going to be grabbing Franks, so we don't have smokes for this post plant in favor of Akuma. But we do have the no command hero right attention as Demo's going to fall, but Shattered going to be grabbing that pick right back from Benez. That's an op shut down right when you need it, but Shattered might just get timinged in a second here. Esperanto from behind. Gonna be picking up 1. There they go. That's 2. Bomb is ticking. It's all down to Degrees. Sheriff in hand. Just try to do a little bit of damage while they can, but bullied by Util and boxed down to 60 health. There they go. Various gonna be sending them on a one-way trip to the Shadow Realm.
Last round in the half.
UCD ahead for the first time in this game, and that's enough to call a timeout from the Akuma squad. Their coach definitely saying, hold up, what is happening? This is a game that we thought was going to go a lot more simply for us, and all of a sudden it is not. I mean, Akuma really some rounds just show off looking so beautiful with such coordination, but then every once in a while, and I think this is really coming from it being a rematch, UCD is able to spot out some of those patterns and are able to make these adaptations, and they're playing very aggressively and really matching the energy that Akuma have done. Every time they get onto site, they're pushing really far back, and they're trying to just keep themselves in these really unpredictable positions. We saw from Esperanto even in that last round, moving on up into Nest, going for those situations, waiting to hear audio cues, and getting so much equity as a result of it. And it's absolutely phenomenal to see that this rematch is getting us as close of a game as it is. What are your thoughts as you're watching this?
My thoughts are, that's a lot of backstabs so far. Between Demo's flanks, moments like that where Esperanto find their way behind Akuma. And even when we saw Benez get caught from behind when they had the tour de force to be able to try to play a post plant, it's been really interesting seeing all of these backs left completely exposed. And UCD has done just such a good job of, like I was saying earlier, shutting down Degrees and not letting Ahira set them up as we've been getting on going. But it looks like Various is going to be popping that Owl Drone shot out. But here comes the no command from Esperanto. Demo with the up just tags them through the corner of the wall. That's going to be a whole lot of difference. Demo's popping
Spike down mid.
Everyone's falling around, but Esperanto is able to peek
One
out and grab
enemy
him
remaining.
so fast. It's all down to Esperanto. He's just brought so low. And here's the headhunter. Degree is going to be bullying them with it too. Here's a 6-6 half.
Wow,
Switching
and
sides.
already a closer game than I think any of us really anticipated, but now we're going to see the aggression that Akuma is so known for be able to be utilized on this attacking side. We'll be able to see these flanks coming out from Demos, and we're going to be able to get a real taste of how Akuma handled themselves in this match. I'm excited to see, especially with how the KD spreads are right now. Shattered continue to kind of play this very spearhead role that has been happening even on that defensive side, and the coordination that was happening between Shattered and Degrees at multiple moments on that defensive side. I'm looking very much forward to how that's going to play on the attacking side.
Power couple coming up together. It's looking as going to be going to a head. C16 dashing in, able to grab Akira. Once again, that very early aggression on these pistol rounds coming out. Esperanto is going to be trying to lead this charge, but Degrees catching out Various. C16 is looking very low. Shatter's popping that flash drive. Nick not spotted out as the no shots go a little bit wide. Shattered will be dropping all hopes and dreams of UCD on this round. Venice drops down to 13 HP. 1v2, but 3 shots in the chamber as they take one between the eyes, and that's 7-6 coming for Akuma.
Akuma 2 in a row, but they are set off between these different halves. Last half, we did actually see UCD on a loss go ahead and force buy up. This time around, you can see C16 was thinking about it a little bit, thought about buying up that Marshall, but it looks like we are
That's a
Okay,
good
still
start.
thinking about it. There's been a little bit of a back and forth here, but I do believe that C16 has the potential to be able to at least buy up an okay gun next round, even if we go for the Marshall this one, but they're not going for as big of a force as we saw last time, so being a little bit more reserved since they're at a pretty even state in this game, not trying to pull ahead and get too aggressive too fast.
We just see a pick come out from this Marshall, be able to really make it worth it, but C16 is left all on their own, getting attacked by a recon bolt through the toxic screen, and you have Degrees. Such an aggressive position. The rest of the team, there it goes, Various, the straight on Spectre, having two on the round, all down to Nick already. You blink and you miss the bodies crash around them, a perfect round for Akuma.
And being able to hold on to those guns, get this bonus to be as effective as possible. A very great situation for the Akuma squad here. Looking pretty nice to continue to move along forward. The opposing side on that defense are able to buy up all of those Vandals. C16 off that Marshall buy last round. Can't afford full shields, but hopefully that won't be too big of a deal. They should still be in an advantageous position going into this one.
Yeah, it looks like UCD wants to play a very aggressive defense game still, but they're gonna have to go for a retake in a second here as they've left B completely exposed to be able to send 3 bodies stomping through elbow. C16 pushing around his toxic screen, watches Ahira fall to
Spike planted.
and this is a very good spot to be in for UCD. Even as the Viper's pick comes out, they have a lot of members in very good positions with Util coming up soon, but Esperanto gonna be falling, followed by Victoris. You no longer have a way to spot out that Viper's pit. As we're coming into the late stages of this round, they have to find some way to get in here. Demo gonna be trying to hold the fort down right on this dotted line in B main. Nick making their way around though, might be able to be the difference, able to spray down Shattered through the smoke. We see C16 come up top, but Frank's gonna be knocked right back down. Here goes Benes, now it's all down to Nick in a 1v2, the bomb's almost gone. It's looking a little bit bleak, and they're gonna have to just leg it in a second here, playing those outros.
One enemy
Frank
remaining.
Gonna be preventing that, and we have a full team wipe for both sides all over again.
Oh my goodness, what an intense round, but certainly one going in favor of Akuma, being able to take those guns and the economy of UCD and just put it in the dirt, really off the back of a mixture of Franks and Demo. Demo was able to just get so aggressive and find some equally aggressive shots just up in UCD's face, and just somehow was not taken down with just the headhunter in hand. Follow that up with Franks with a Viper's Pit. It doesn't matter what kind of guns you have, if everyone is at 0 or 1 HP, and you're able to just spray with those Spectres. So beautifully done, and a great bonus round for the side of Akuma.
It's what I always like to say, even a classics and offense, they're low enough. And we have C16 very aggressive, not even able to get the Marshall shot off, unfortunately, but Nick from
Spike
behind,
down
able to grab
A.
Franks, get that bomb down, just cause a little bit of chaos, try to get Akuma scattered. And cluster comms, Various looking to be able to get an aggressive pick of their own, but caught with the knife out by Shattered. The wrong place at the right time. Esperanto with the Sheriff in hand, gonna be trying to make their way up, grab that rifle, and try to pinch off Akuma with Nick. But there's Demo with the Phantom, gonna start spraying
Teleport's
down.
ready.
Here's the duel back and forth. No rendezvous to save them if they end up in a bad spot. Nick able to take out Degrees with this Sheriff. A little bit of a demon, gonna be exercised by Shattered though. Esperanto's making their way through, caught in a bad spot as Shattered's gonna be grabbing another frag for themselves. It's a beautiful round for Akuma.
Yeah, very well done. I mean, it was a save round from the defensive side of UCD, and previously we were actually able to see Nick pick up a lot of Sheriff kills on some of those save rounds. Was a little bit excited to see if there was some potential for that to happen once again, and unfortunately it just wasn't in the cards for UCD, who haven't been able to pick up a round since moving on to this defensive side.
Who will I spot
But that
first?
being said, we did see Akuma win 4 rounds in a row, and then finally get taken down, go back to 4. Starting off like this is a great way to keep this going.
Good Omens getting C16 to come online in this round, but
Toaster is
from
broken.
behind, Esperanto's gonna be getting their head shaved. C16 going to be forced to hit the updraft away, but
Last
Nick,
player
star
standing.
player so far on these gross
I have them.
rounds, being caught in really close angles, falling as well. Demos through the cloudburst, able to grab C16 and has a tour de force of their own. Point and click adventure to be able to try to run the rest of this Various with the Owl Drones, able to get the tag, we see you, and going to be trying to potentially go for a wallbang. Just in general, we have very strong positions to play these ops forward, and Demo is going to be having to climb up one steep mountain to be able to make this happen. We might just end up with a very close half all over again.
Yeah, 40 seconds, so a lot of time to
One enemy
here
remaining.
and getting the peek onto Bennis. Whoa, oh, all right. All of a sudden,
30 seconds
run,
left.
Nick shot, Various. What is the game plan here?
Moves like Jagger on Various in the spray, not quite to match. As Demo's able to grab a 4K, what was that with the tour de force? 1 HP in a dream.
That's so scary. I mean, the spike was down in kind of a rough position. There wasn't a great spot to hold any of those extreme angles and just wait for Demos to kind of walk into the wrong place at the wrong time. But I still think we were seeing maybe a little bit too much peeking. It was a 2v1 situation. Just hold some kind of crossfire, wait for something to happen, and don't give Demos those peaks when you know that that tour de force is on line. And here, Akuma actually going to be the team to call this time out. And that's kind of interesting considering that they are the ahead team in this situation. But I like these kinds of timeouts. I like when we get to see even the teams that are ahead go ahead and say, hey, we're at 11 points. We're one off a match point. What is the best way for us to close this game up? What have we been doing that has worked? And so far, I would say most everything, considering that they're undefeated on the attacking side. And how are we going to do these final few rounds? Pack it, seal it, ship it, and send it to our doorstep. How do we get us this dub?
Yeah, not only that, talking about what they're going to do for the next map and try to keep those adjustments in mind for later can change a lot going into those intros to the round with some form of a plan, especially with a team that's been so confident so far. Being able to have a little bit of planning helps a ton. There's the Viper's Pit to put a wrench in this B take, though. Send Akuma packing over into mid, but Degrees, they contest all of these. Gonna be looking a little bit hairy, potentially peeking into this judge as Demo's able to grab Various, and Esperanto back in Arches gonna be trying to be able to make something happen, try to keep their Viper alive as all of them are falling. It is almost strictly down to Nick. The flick is not there. It's all down to Nick. Playing around this Viper's Pit, trying to play a little bit of snake here. Able to grab Shatter, but not able to grab another as they had to pull the judge back out since they wanted to tap the knife.
Oh,
Match point.
That feels so bad, and for that to lead up to match point, I mean, we still had a lot of work cut out after we killed one person with the judge, but for it to immediately not only have a second kill just by holding that judge out feels a little bit rough, and as a result, match point now for Akuma, who looks like they're gonna try and just go for a rush, a push, go ahead and seal this one all up, put a bow on it.
Get out of my way!
Number 2, which will be bind.
Two very different maps, so seeing them at the intro back to back. Hell of a time, but Various with this Ares though. Able to shut Degrees down. Shattered. Power couple right here. Able to grab Venice and almost able to transfer it onto Various as well. He's trying to take more room away from UCD. It's down to Ahira. And Frank's actually, but Ahira's good for the kill onto Esperanto. As we're going to be making our way into the late stages of the round. The bomb's going down. The shots through the stairs come out in favor of Various. Various is very low though, so if you can find one, almost certainly can get the other. And Frank's caught by the Owl Drone though. Might be hearing I am the hunter. And if they fall, they tagged the snake bite. It's a 4K in the hands of Various with an Ares.
I mean, hey, 1600 got nerfed, but is still able to do a lot of damage. You follow that up with that Hunter's Fury and Various really trying to hold down the fort for this UCD squad. It is worth mentioning that Akuma did pick up this as their map pick, and based on the absolute runner that they were able to put on, getting 6 rounds in a row on the attacking side, you can kind of understand why that would have been the case. When we do go to that second map, it is then of course going to be UCD's pick. So depending on how you feel about picks associating with wins and who really has what strategies, we could be seeing UCD put up more fight in this game than we were expecting, and hopefully on their map pick they'll be able to continue to do the same and maybe even still bring this one back. That last round kind of went in their favor, though they're high, a little bit rough, a lot of light shields going into this round.
Here's the Hunter's Fury. A little bit of detailing out with that owl drone, but Akuma has a site quite convincingly for it. There's the Vipers with secure a plant, Various able to grab degrees and try to continue this onslaught, keep the space for UCD, but they didn't spot out the Rogue Sova. There's Franks, the Viper's pit is now down. No command is out and running.
One enemy remaining.
But still res that robot as Ahira on the back line, gonna be trying to be able to grab everything they can. So 1 versus 3. Their util comes back soon. They hear the bomb get tapped. Not much they can do right now. Here's the recon bolt tap. Just perfectly out, but Esperanto died instead of Nit, giving another round for UCD.
Alright, UCD, we see you. We see you holding this one down, keeping yourselves in this game. And a lot of it is coming down to these retakes. Nick is doing a great job of playing around the toxins, and especially in that last round, just really utilizing the denial of vision for these retake situations. And we are kind of seeing that off of holding on to these toxic screens a lot longer than you're used to seeing a Viper hold on to something like that.
You want to play? Let's play.
Especially with how much these teams keep just changing their minds on attack as to where they want to land. It's very important to have a little bit of patience with this util, as Akuma doesn't even have bomb in hand of anyone. They haven't decided where they want to go, but knowing their mid games, this can get very bloody in just a second here. Look at all this space they've made mid. And UCD is going to have to start looking into the owl drone. Does spot out here. Shattered, but nothing else this time, as the Vipers are just going to keep taking their poison, breathe it all in.
A slow round. I mean, this says a lot about how Akuma are adapting to their opponent's play. UCD have done a great job of matching that timeout that was made for Akuma. Also gave, I guess, UCD a little bit of time to chat and figure out what exactly is happening in this game and how they're going to bring themselves back. And now as a result, we're seeing this kind of stalemate back and forth, and with about 30 seconds left, something's got to give.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, it's a little bit standoffish. We heard the tour de force around the map bring out just a moment ago as things are starting to heat up on this B site. And it's going to be the first contact into Ahira, as well as their lucky duo. Shatter's going to be picked up first. The sprays back and forth. Demo's able to grab one with the tour de force, but now it's down to a 2 versus 4. Strength grabbing everything. Bodies left for UCD. They really want to take this to OT.
And I will be very excited if they are able to, because that's a lot of rounds to win right back. That's their 3rd in a row. They'll have to win 3 more to get us into OT. So quite the back and forth that we're seeing from these 2 teams. And it's got to be really crazy for Akuma to have changed the pace of the game completely. Play that slow, wait for utility to come back up, and wait until that 30-second point to really start to execute. And it's got to be a little bit scary for them to have made that big shift and still not have been able to take that win, not being able to finish that closure. But as a result, we are going to see this time out. C16 and the rest of the UCD squad going to try and figure out how that success is able to continue to prolong their time in this game, keep them going. And again, I really do think think that their patience on the defensive side is really paying off, especially as we mentioned on that Viper continuously. Even for the attacking side Viper, it almost was able to work. There was a little bit of a different wall that blocked off a lot of mid area and vision there. But ultimately, it seems like Akuma just are not able to set themselves up as well. They're able to get that bomb down, but it is being defused pretty consistently. And I think a lot of that does go with props to Nick for vision denial once more.
Yeah, we haven't been seeing a lot of like the initiator util land and scout out in the early stages of these rounds, and even some of those early post plants. So kudos to Nick being able to keep everything shut down, but we're going to be seeing no abilities allowed. Milkman through the poison orb. Shattered will be falling though. C16 is able to jump away with the op in hand. Here comes the spike, really getting to tap. Shattered right back up. Nothing happened, buddy. You're okay. We'll walk it off and get to late stages of this round with Demo able to grab various mid. It's now 4 bodies of UCD to be able to try to run this. Bennett has to be careful with their tour de force now. Has a lot of mid controls going in the way of Akuma. But back and forth, Nick is going to be able to make Hot Hero fall, and Shatter is able to grab C16. Getting a little bit dicey as Akuma is still spread out so much. The double straight out to end us off. 3 hits on his belt. That's 13-9 for Akuma.
Wow, what a game, and what a game from UCD as well. They almost were able to make themselves a comeback into this match, really off of the back, once again, of Nick and Bennis. Bennis doing just a great job of playing that chamber, how you would expect to, getting those early kills, and being able to stay safe and use that as a way to create space. Unfortunately, Demo also playing that in an almost flawless fashion. Both of those chambers, 22 and 24 kills respectively, and just being absolute menaces for each of their teams, and hopefully they'll be able to do it once again when we go on to that next map as well.
Hopefully, man, what an intense game number 1. We didn't want to see a complete blowout. We all said, Akuma looking very strong, looking like they can definitely take this in a 3-0 fashion, but UCD are very clearly making them work for it if this first game was any indication. But yeah, just really good stuff. So close to that overtime. Super close to the overtime. But yeah, that was just game number 1. We still got, possibly 4 more to go. But we're just going to give the guys a little bit of a break real quick. So throw it over, and we'll be right back with more action between Akuma Esports and UCD Gold. Welcome back. I told you it was going to be a quick break. We got some more games to cover. Game number one, very close between the two. We thought it was just going to be Akuma blowout, but UCD Gold definitely showed that they are here to play and they will not go quietly into this fair night. What are some things we can expect for them to change? Like talk some quick strats while we have the time while everybody's getting ready. It's because it was looking very good on the side of UCD Gold when they were able to, get up that 5 round difference. And what more do you think they need to do to push themselves to make this a 1-to-1 in the series so far? Becky, we'll start with you.
Oh, okay. So I actually think that if we're anticipating, we all predicted that Akuma is going to be ultimately the team to take down this series. So moving past that, if there is one that I think we're going to see UCD actually able to take down, I do think that it's going to be Bind. This is their map pick, and after watching how good of a fight they put up against Breeze, which was Akuma's pick, I think that the difference in space between these two maps plays a lot more in favor of the style of play that we get to see UCD do, and we aren't going to see as many kind of like rat maneuvers that we've seen some of the members of Akuma do in the past. They won't be able to get away with it as much, and I think that as a result of that, I think we're going to see a little bit of a scrappier game from both of these squads, but I think that it plays pretty well into how UCD have a style of playing, and I'm excited to see what strategies they're bringing as a result of that.
Yeah, Loki, what are you feeling? How are you feeling after that game one? Are we still sticking with the strict Akuma 3-0, or is UCD gonna pull the upset, or they're gonna grab a game as we are going into this next map of Bind?
I think it's going to be very close, honestly. UCD is a lot scrappier, but I'm worried C16, they're just not coming online. And that's their main fragger, especially being on those jets, on those raises, being that deep dive to be able to get some space for the team. You need that online on bind. If you're not able to take those crucial chokes, U-Haul, or even just the back of sight on B is just night and day difference on some of these takes, especially into a team like Akuma, where we have such a strong support system, not quite holding each other's pockets the way UCD did, but we still have Shattered running amok with Demo. Even when they weren't ratting, they were just going for those straight fights. And Degrees missed a lot of shots, but they hit them when they mattered.
Absolutely can agree with that. And yeah, I mean, just putting in there from what I was seeing, what I was observing and watching, Benez was just absolutely insane on this chamber, looking how they were playing, really trying to carry it all the way. And we were waiting for C16 to come online to be that, second facilitator of getting those frags. Esperanto pulling in so much duty on the KO, just like you said, maybe not as much pocket holding, maybe not as much lining up for those collapse that would just happen. Um, Definitely would like to see them, spread out, cover more angles, and just bring the fight to Akuma, like we did see them do in a few of those rounds. So it's just tiny little things here and there that they can clean up, and maybe, just maybe, we can get them into bring this series rather to a 1-to-1. And honestly, I'm just excited because they definitely showed more of a fight than originally expected. Because remember, this is the rematch from week 8, so there was time to watch the VODs back. There was time to make adaptations needed, and it's starting to show. But there's just a bit more UCD Gold needs to do before they can claim victory. With that being said, I'm going to step away. We're going to get into map number 2, which is Bind. So I'm going to let my casters take it away. Y'all have some fun out there.
Oh, we always do.
Yeah, we're going to be...
Okay. Ooh, okay, sorry, I'll let you go. But there's something that I'm really excited
I'm
about.
excited. That Sky Fade is something I'm really into, but I'm seeing Ahira on Viper instead of Sova, as well as Nick on Brim. How do you feel about double smokes on Bind, actually?
I think that it's a great thing to do. There's so many tiny corners and a lot of angles that you can really block off, and I think that this is a map where vision is very important, and usually you see flashes compensate for that, but you can also kind of compensate for that with smokes as well. I'm so excited about the fade. There was a moment where I was thinking on the desk, I was like, do I point out that Various actually did a fantastic job on the Sova in the last round, also has Sova as their picture for their banner, in game, so I was like, maybe Varius is just a Sova main, and as much as I want to see the fade, it's not gonna happen. And then Varius instantly locked in the fade. That's why I got excited. I think the fade is phenomenal on this map. Just the lineups that you can have for the haunts, the prowlers can clear out a ton of corners, is just such a great information initiator on this map, and I'm excited to see how Varius utilizes it here.
Yeah, and as someone who grew up with the good old Scooby-Doo animated show, I adore Fade. I am fully biased. I will say that with my whole chest. And we heard it from me talking about yeah. And you heard me talking about it a little bit with map 1 even. I love seeing Fade alongside these initiators. I'm not a huge fan of Sky being the one that is done alongside, but having the extra Trailblazer can be really good as well going into these, but just foregoing the flash on Duelist instead of going for your Reyna alongside as your ecosystem as a very self-sufficient Duelist, picking up Raze or Jet. The Prowlers are really good to help with deep dives.
And we'll see if those are going to be coming through how we want them to be. Starting off on the attacking side, once again, is going to be UCD. And we do see C16 making the switch over to that Raze, as you mentioned. And I think that based on how kind of up close and personal in your face C16 was getting last round on the Jet, and it just wasn't coming through, I am excited to see the Raze and be put on this map, because I do think that, once again, it plays better into how C16 has been playing. And so hopefully if there's a time where C16 is going to come online, this is going to be it.
Yeah, we see early aggression playing a little bit of around the world with portals, and Degrees is going to be playing around this shower. They tapped, or they know some bodies are out there, but Demo might be looking to do what they do best, ratting through this portal, waiting for any sense of audio, and there we have Demo grabbing C16?
What?
I saw their sights on Esperanto. Where did C16 come into this?
Oh no. Okay, we were already expecting there to be, and we mentioned it, the rap plays from Demo, but up close right away, playing with those teleports is something that I'm excited to see. I feel like you don't see it enough. People are too worried about the audio cues, but they actually played that super well. Had 2 people go through the teleporter, 1 come out, make it seem
30
like there was
seconds left.
nobody left in the teleporter, and then Demo just got to be a complete lurk there and get that early pick matters so much. Losing your duelist that early is rough.
And it looks like Ben is going to be spearheading this charge just a little bit as Shatter's able to spray down Esperanto. 10 seconds on the clock. Various won't be putting a spell on us today. And Nick is going to be maintaining control of this bomb site, desperately getting that bomb not quite down. No extra creds. Do not pass go. We're getting an early round for Akuma.
Right, Shatter being able to go back into that tube, reload at 8 HP, and then still spray down Various while staying at 8 HP that should not be allowed, and I'm sorry that that happened, Various. Sometimes the shots don't go where you mean for them to go. It happens to the best of us. Just don't let it happen again. We need to be seeing this fade matter so much more, but we also need to see C16 hopefully stay alive a little bit longer in this round.
Yeah, and it looks like Demo is going to be trying to be a little bit aggressive, but they caught sight of a shorty. Backing right off. C16 looking to catch flight through the Caterpillar smokes. I love this strategy for getting into U-Haul, especially since they do have a little bit more room to work with. But Demo not going to be falling for it today, as it looks like Degrees is running amok on the other side. Was able to grab Spike for themselves, but Various looking to be able to run it up.
One enemy remaining.
Hero with the spray on Nick, but all sides are going to be pointing to Various going down 2-0 for Akuma.
Okay, I mean, I'm not going to be too upset about that one, considering that they were at least able to kill 2 members of Akuma in that round, so we're not seeing the same kind of flawless holding on to all of our guns for the bonus rounds that we were seeing some of the time on Breeze. So we're at least taking a step up there. They were on a complete save round, that one before, so now they're on these Vandals and Phantoms going into this one, looking to be a lot stronger in the round that we're really hoping to watch closely for the side of UCD. Let's see what they can pull together here.
Yeah, this map is just going very differently. It's a lot more scrappy, like we were saying, but we have Various looking to creep up, potentially lead this charge through short. Demo gonna be seeing first contact in a moment here, has that headhunter in hand, able to snap their fingers and be out of there in a second, but Various is gonna be grabbing them just on the edge of that Prowler. Degrees be nearsighted for the time being as Frank's trying to be able to set up a couple smokes, just try to hold a cheeky angle with that ghost. He's gonna try to hold what they can. Nick's gonna be shutting them down. Benez able to grab Franks for themselves. It's down to 2 members of Akuma. This is their bonus round. We just want to do a little bit of damage, make some noise. Don't fall over quite that easily, but it looks like this Titan might be toppling straight down in just a moment here. Ahira fairly low as the guiding light comes out. Is able to spot out Benez. There goes C16 though. Not quite over yet. The Spectre Various is going to be able to put a spell on Ahira, bring us into one round in their favor. Kept 4 rifles.
Yeah, big help going into this one. The only one not holding onto a rifle is going to be C16. Could potentially go for a Spectre or somebody else. Esperanto even has enough money to be able to buy up that teammate. Looks like it's actually going to end up being a Various, but you know, comme ça, able to get full guns. So a great round that we're going to be able to see full buys, pretty much from full squad. Demos being a little aggressive here by going for the operator pickup. No shields, just hoping to get that one tap back away as Chambers do. And we've gotten to see a lot of contact towards this A link area, and so that's where Demo is watching.
Very classic play, having a glass cannon. It looks like Shattered might be just flirting back and forth with Various, tossing util at each other. Like nice little love letters as Demo doesn't quite get the shot in time on Nick. Was just a little bit suspicious of an early op. For good reason, as we can see, but this is going to be a round slowed to a crawl. C16 might just have to look to go huge out of hookah to be able to get some space if they want to take B, as it looks like the rest of UCD is going to be making their way over and just trying to make magic happen. It's just another very slow round.
Yeah, this is an interesting setup as well. I think that what they're thinking, now that they've heard the operator shots, I think they're a little bit dubious and scared of just walking into it. And then on top of that, the initial setup, I think, is very much like, oh,
30
we're
seconds
used
left.
to somebody going for this lurk. So what's the best way for us to play around it? And that's to keep holding a lot of corners and wait for the ones to push. And ultimately, Frank's going a little bit forward, will strike first blood. Unfortunately, it is a 2-for-1.
And Demos is very low. This is a
Spike
very
planted.
winnable round. Unfortunate for us to see Shattered just getting a little overzealous on that peak. Just let the clock run out. Let them seal the door right in their own face. But Demo going to be watching that hookah, trying to get the support system all in line. The Poison Orb coming up to be able to deny just a little bit more vision. Esperanto sitting right on the inside, might just catch someone by surprise. The guiding light not catching anyone, but Esperanto found their way behind Akuma here.
One enemy remaining.
Get a little bit hairy, but Ben is on the 4K. No ace for you today. Esperanto wanted to get on the board.
Oh, that was a little bit unfortunate because actually the toxic orb that came out was from the teammate, so it didn't allow for the side of Akuma and Demo to hold those long angles, be watching into hookah, be watching into B. It did allow for Ahira to get onto site and pick up 2 kills, so it's a little bit back and forth whether you think it was worth it, but ultimately the round's going over to UCD. Very nicely locked up there by Benes and Esperanto, and looking to do it once again. Sort of force ready, but when it's operating, we're not worried about it. Real show is going to be the Nightfall if they come out, if they even need it.
Last player standing.
UCD just completely shut down the Stimmy rush. And Barrett's grabbing 2 for themselves. What a hectic intro. Guiding Light looked so good too.
Yeah, it was a guiding light peek out into 3 members who are all at like completely different clock angles, so you are gonna have the hardest time doing a spray transfer between those areas, even if you wanted to try. It's just a rough situation with the fear of shots of the century if we got to see them from Shattered. Unfortunately, just not the case. Ahira and Degrees do have ultimates ready to go into this one, and it looks like as a result, Ahira popping that Viper's Pit immediately says, I don't want to come, at least through this way, to A site. So just gonna block this off, get a really actually aggressive Viper's Pit as well that goes quite far out into the attacking side angle. Unfortunately, we mentioned those battles between chambers. This one is going in favor of Bennis.
Yeah, Benez is looking so strong this game so far. Able to grab these ops, keep a hold of them, and just all of those picks we saw with the Headhunter made the econ nice and healthy. Franks. That's a molly to be able to slow this down a little bit. Paint those right on their forehead, but not quite landing.
Face your
the
fear!
flashback. There goes the Nightfall. Gonna be having to face your fears as the Prowler goes just over Frank's head. Oh, such a beautiful position. He's able to time it. C16. Here's the showstopper. Make some noise, Degrees. You're not quite in the right castle, buddy, but you have the spirit, so that's okay. Shatter's gonna be grabbing Nick. It's down to Benez on long. But I think they hear Esperanto, who's coming up into halls in just a second here. They have Seekers in hand, but not gonna want to use them. Here's the first contact.
Standing.
There goes Esperanto. And it's all down to Benez. They have to think, do we want to save this up? Or do we want to try to go for a hero play? There's not much time to work with. 4 bodies left on the board.
10 seconds left
For Akuma. The shot goes wide with the up, just a little bit full blind with a guiding light. And Shattered is going to be just closing the door right in their face as soon as it's open.
Yeah, I've got to respect going for it there. Actually, Bennis also has that tour de force ready to go into this round, so that economy can be just fine. Unfortunately, you are handing over that operator into the hands of your opponents, but Demo was going to be able to have somebody buy that up anyway. Somebody was going to be able to grab the one that Demo dropped, so ultimately that is like not really here or there. The rest of the squad really favoring holding on to those Phantoms and Vandals and not
You
going
want
for
to
a
play?
double operator
Let's
strategy.
play.
Here's the tour de force, able to shoot out the Trailblazer, and that's an orbital to flush no one out of you all as the laser beams just go back and forth. Looks like Skynet's running up, but going wide. Spray down from Franks. Here's the showstop from C16 going just a little bit wide. Try to make some more magic happen from Showers. Tag C16, we stop the bomb plant around the world. We go. There's the portal. 2 players, 3 players. Out here with his
One
disciplines.
enemy
Able to grab
remaining.
Esperanto. Frank's able to go back and grab Nick. And now it's all down to C16 in a 1 versus 3. Caught by the Trailblazer. Don't have the ability to spray as the shots just aren't there. Demo's able to grab a shot with the op and bring us to a 4-3 for Akuma.
Oh, that was just a rough round to watch. It felt like everything that we were trying to see UCD make happen was just falling a little bit short. Not being able to kill Franks off of that initial turn into Showers in that 1v2 situation is just a heartbreaking situation for the side of UCD. And that's one of those situations where you have to just kind of sit yourself back up, take a few deep breaths, shake it off, and just move on into the next one. If you let that get into your mental, we are going to be seeing Akuma run all over UCD. So we just got to keep that mental in a good spot, not worry about it too much, and just try to get yourselves at an even step once again.
Spike down B.
Demo with the up shot to be able to also avoid the bomb buddy, and Ahira able to grab C16. Might have just shut this entire round down. No deep dive. Be able to whack them up. The Prowler going to be getting shot out. You don't have the smokes from Nick. This might just be very cut and dry. No more Prowlers and Shatters. Able to get taken out by Esperanto though. And we're going to be able to see a little bit of room taken back for UCD as Bennis is going to get caught behind by Degrees. And here's Various coming up with the bomb.
Okay, we were a little bit concerned. We were like, this map's a lot smaller than Breeze, so we're not going to be able to see the same lurks that we've been seeing from Akuma and that Akuma are so known for, but they're making it work nonetheless. Degrees still with these loops, but we're seeing them kind of evenly from both sides. Both of these teams working a lot and narrowly missing Various there. Frank not
Last player standing.
what? Just kidding. Never mind. Frank, whatever I was gonna say, I can't even finish that sentence because what the heck?
I think Frank just flew my brain to the moon. What did I just watch?
Despite a bird getting all up in Frank's face, still able to find the 2 kills, guiding Light, who, and all of a sudden, lead for Akuma. A map that we thought UCD were going to be a little bit stronger on, but they're just struggling to thread this needle and keep it all together. And CC still not really coming online, getting aggressive, but constantly getting these early shutdowns.
I think I caught C16 try to ADS there, and that's what caught them out that go-round. That little bit of time to scope in makes a huge difference, playing into players like I here with the reaction time. The sprays go back and forth. Nice to see Demo coming out on top of Bennis across the way, but Shatters making this peek happen. There goes Esperanto. Guiding Light gonna be looking to be able to spot out one more body, but here comes the dog. No birds will be exploding on our watch right now. It's all down to Various and Raptors need a lot. Hero's gonna fall. Spray down, not quite there from Shadow. It's all down to Various. They have the bomb in their hand and have to decide this castle or the other one. Which one looks a bit nicer? Making their way through these smokes. The Haunt finds no one, but Franks is gonna be leading. There we have it. 6-3 for Akuma.
Akuma trying to make this happen nonetheless. And, I mean, there's something certainly to be said for their team composition. I am a little bit in favor of that fade, but I think what really is being the shining light, aside from Franks getting some insane shots and some insane 1v2s in this game, because there's been 2 1v2s so far that Franks has just, like, somehow come out on top of. And if that gets to keep happening, UCD have no shot in this game. If C16 keeps dying this early, it's gonna be really rough. And at 1-9, like, we're just not even getting to a position where C16 is actively making that space or making that much of an impact, because really right now we're just blast packing in and dying. And I have to wonder if a part of that, if C16 is the one calling these timeouts, if C16 is the IGL for the team, maybe it's just a little bit too much for C16 to be trying to make the calls at the exact same time as trying to be the one going in and getting these explosive plays. And maybe somebody else should be, like, from that behind, maybe should be like Various on the fade or something to allow for a little bit more of a stepped back perspective, especially after C16 is allowed to go for those explosive plays.
Yeah, and let's talk about what they're not doing that they did last game, though. On Breeze, they were all about fanning out and trying to hold what lanes they can. On this map with less lanes, they're just not. They're bottlenecking themselves, and we're seeing Franks get to mow down multiple bodies, as you said, on repeat. But right now we have UCD on this stage. They're gonna have to be a little bit more aggressive with Degrees. Is able to get the shots out of Various, and there's Pettis very low. The Phantom Spray not quite there, so they're gonna have to pack themselves on out. Franks able to grab the C16 with the laser pointer from above as Degrees continue to cause some havoc. Stinger in hand of Nick, able to take out Franks and make this a 2 versus 4 with paint shells.
One enemy remaining.
Scary. It's all down to Bennett. Very low HP with a 4K for Degrees. It's starting to heat up in here for UCD.
Oh, and we're not even going to see the same even half that we saw on Breeze. 7-3 now, so no chance for the side of UCD to even hope for an even shot in this game. Speaking of 4 kills in that last one, and just having an extremely clean blast pack, able to get into a bunch of places that allowed for vision to come through despite the clouds that were brought down from this Brimstone on the attacking side, which I was a little bit excited for, like, some of the Caterpillar smokes in the early rounds, but I think now that we've moved to, like, the rifle rounds, they're just not actually doing what I would ultimately like for them to do, and not actually making the space that they think they're making.
But Demo with the op, doesn't matter what range, is able to get those shots off. And here we have Franks going to be staring down Esperanto as everyone's wailing back and forth for their own fights. There's the guiding light, avoided by Franks narrowly, but Esperanto doesn't care. Reflick is not quite there as Shattered's going to be trying to put their own hat in the ring. Playoff hookah.
I've got
We hear
your
the flashbacks
trail.
coming up from C16. There's the
Face your fear!
Kids. Nightfall is out. Esperanto got caught from behind. Again, these teleporters are looking very tricky in this game. And Benez is going to be able to try to hold some space for C16 to get the bomb down and avoid getting caught by these flanks. But it's a 2 versus 4 for them to be able to play. That's a lot of ground to cover.
A lot.
They found my trap.
Indeed, and all of a sudden, there's a 2v4. A lot of movement to be made. At least the bomb was able to get down. C16. Rough situation.
Last player standing.
Here, taken, mowed down by Shattered, who was top frag last game, continuing to
Cheers,
be
mate.
one of these great players for Akuma Vork.
Don't
Putting
even
up
start that shit here,
8-3, and doing a great job of continuing to just have a chokehold on this
Last
game.
round
And they're
before
in
the
a great
switch.
position to continue to do so. Ahira one tip off of that ultimate for this Viper, as well as also having the Showstopper, the Seekers, and that Tour de Force ready for the defensive side of Akuma. The only person who doesn't have ultimate near ready is Franks, but Franks has just been such a menace with a gun anyway that I'm not even worried about what Franks can make happen in a round.
Yeah, Showstoppers are up back and forth. None have landed quite yet, but this might be the round to change it. Here comes the Tour de Force from Demo to be able to try to get something. Toxic Screen's up. Darius spraying through and is able to get called by Ahira, though. Unfortunate play around these smokes. There's the Viper's Pit, the hold-off shower. As it looks like UCD is just going to be taking say normally. Here's the Showstopper. Does not help. Once again, Dorval going to be flushing Ahira out, dropping that Viper's Pit.
Enemy
And
down.
Nick with the tap onto Shattered. This might just be a round for UCD. It's going back and forth. 2 versus 2 now as Nick's gonna be popping the teleporter. The bomb's making its way into another castle. Here we go over on B. But here's the Showstopper from Degrees. We have Nick caught in the hot seat. Flashbacks come
enemy
out.
remaining.
First Showstopper lands of the
Spike
night.
planted.
Right onto Nick and paint shells straight onto Beniz's forehead. No rendezvous to play the rest of this round. He's gonna get caught by the op. And that's a 9-3 half for Akuma. Might be a bit of a bad omen though.
I mean, I'm personally not a believer in the 9-3 curse, but whatever copium you need to get yourself through it at the end of the day, if you are on UCD or a UCD fan, you certainly better be believing in that 9-3 curse or whatever curse is gonna get this to at least an even game and at least get us to see some back and forth. I mean, the light and silver lining for UCD has to be that even though they're at a rough spot in this game, it is best of 5.
There.
So even if they lose this one, they still have a chance to go 3-0
There.
on the final 3 maps and get themselves a situation where they could come back into it. It's totally possible. You just gotta pick your head up for that next map time and time again. Our final 3 maps are going to be Ascent into Icebox and then Fracture should we get to that game 5. And talk about a scrappy map. We thought that this one was going to be scrappy, and it has been, but a little bit more in Akuma's favor than we initially had expected, especially with how back and forth Breeze was.
Yeah, like I said, UCD just couldn't fan out, but we have this very classic pistol
Oh
run
my
as seen
gosh.
from last, just moving in packs. Benez is gonna be first contact from Demo, and that's a fully open B site. The risk you run when you're in a position like this, and all that is util if only Akuma knew. As they're gonna get this bomb down. This is a really scary round going into it for UCD as Ahira finds the entire cavalry on the pack. Birds just exploding everywhere. Prowler coming out is going to be able to get some back. Victoris is very low. C16 playing a bit of a game of catch with Shattered though. As we make our way to the rest of this, Demo's able to get 2 for the price of 3 head
Last
shots.
player
And Nick's on the
standing.
top of the tube, going to get dropped down by Degrees. And we're going to be going down just a couple more notches of paint shells right behind Esperanto. Caught between it all. It's going to be falling to the shells. And we're going to pop just a nice little look at this bomb. Got the molly in hand.
Akuma first to hit double digits and gonna be able to go for this buy up round to get them to 11. Really just starting to close this one out in kind of a swift fashion. And it's kind of heartbreaking to see, based on how this started,
Player
UCD being able
standing.
to get us to like a 3-3, a 2-3 at one point, really had me feeling like they were gonna be a little bit stronger, but ultimately the strategy that they found that worked was something that was able to be sniffed out and immediately shut down by this Akuma squad. A great job of adapting, a great job of finding heads and just
Launching smoke.
catching out every single member of UCD who's trying to hold hands through this game.
So many double spray downs. UCD really needs to stop holding belt. It's not working for them as Demo's able to grab Benez. Get this bomb down. The Shorty in a dream, but not quite able to see it through. With Degrees is going to have a head of steel. Brought their helmet into work today. It's 11-3 for Akuma.
Yeah, you see the little baseball cap that Raze is wearing? It's actually a helmet, and it actually keeps you safe from all of those shorty shots, because, first of all, I don't even know how Degrees didn't die there. I swear, if I'm Degrees in that situation, I die 100%, and I'm, like, hands in the air, yelling at my monitor. But, I guess Degrees built a little different, especially this Raze, that helmet, all things looking pretty nice, and especially looking nice for this squad of Akuma, but the round that we were able to see go into UCD's favor was this anti-eco. So being able to have these full rifles, hopefully going to put some rounds back under their belt. Try to stem this bleeding a little bit, but I hear a strong start. This is a 1-for-1 trade for UCD.
Yeah, this is going to be a very important round to be able to try to keep a couple bodies up, as Nick's able to make Demo drop as well. This might be just so much better for UCD. Start getting this econ on track, start getting a couple rounds strung together, as everyone's just falling around Nick. We've seen a lot of double spray downs. The hit of Pocket holding through Shower. There goes Frank. Bomb down as well.
Spike
Not able to
down.
trade over onto Shattered quite yet. Guiding Light popped over Triple. Be trying to get this bomb down in a second here. Maybe grab another frag or two. It's a lot of time to work with, but UCD is starting to collapse. We hear the Trailblazer coming out. There's the Haunt too. And caught by the Trailblazer. Not much you can do but accept your fate. It's a round going for UCD.
Yeah, I kind of appreciate the strategy that we were seeing Shatter try to go for, realizing that the economic damage to taking out a member of UCD was just going to be a little bit stronger than the 300 credits in the pockets of all of the members of Akuma. Potentially a little bit of a BM decision, but certainly one to go for nonetheless, and is just trying to keep as many people on UCD off guns for as long as possible. Thankfully, economy good enough that even though Venice and Various fell in that previous round, still able to buy up going into this one off of picking up some kills as well. Now, the round we've been waiting for, the even fourth round, and we'll see if UCD can hold on.
Yeah, we started off fairly early on in UCD's favor, getting Ihira down. They don't have the Viper Ghost Plant, but B is completely in the hands of Akuma right now. As the bombs are going to start to go down, Esperanto might be seeing a little bit of action. Just a moment here as we're creeping around these smokes. But the bomb timer is in Akuma's favor. There goes Degrees, but Shatter's able to grab one. Ben is able to take Shattered out. Here comes the laser pointer onto the center of the site. Not quite grabbing
Last
Demo,
player
caught
standing.
by a Prowler, though. Down to Franks to be able to try to hold this bomb. They don't have the molly to work with. The bomb's getting pinged. Might be just a little bit bleak, though. Spray's not quite there to stop the defuse. And Ben is able to grab that through the smoke. What a retake from UCD.
That's what we need to be seeing. That's the strength that UCD needed to have. I love that we saw a lot of members back up. They were like, okay, you can have B-side. We're just going to try and keep ourselves at 5. We're going to try and keep as much of our utility that we can use together as possible. And that was a big part of how they were able to get off that very nice retake.
There.
Held on to some of those smokes, something that we applauded UCD for on Breeze as well, holding on to some of that utility.
You want to play? Let's
and utilizing
play.
it nicely along with a lot of the other agents' utility in this.
Smoke's down.
We'll see if they're able to do it again, because they've got to keep stringing these wins together when we're seeing Akuma at 11, 1 point away from match point 2, from taking it all and getting themselves this 2-0.
Yeah, it looks like they're on a half by here, though. Wiggling back and forth, Ben is able to tag Degrees, but not much happening quite yet as everyone's just creeping around. Akuma's trying to lay the seed for UCD's rotate, but they're not quite biting yet. As Various continuing to eye this smoke with malicious intent, has the Phantom in hand. Here's the Toxic Surge going up as Nick's able to swing on Akira. There it goes, Shattered. Various with a run and gun onto Decrees. Gonna be trying to just completely sweep this round under the rug. Demo has the tour de force. Trying to do a little bit more damage. Gonna have to rendezvous away from that Prowler to try to avoid being nearsighted. Pick from Frank, almost inhuman. Very close to spotting out Various.
30 seconds left.
Two members of UCD are going to be hitting a trademark in just a moment. Creeping up, there's Demo with the headshot on Various. Should have gotten the up from 950, get that Marshall going, but here's the teleport. Trying to deal with everything. There's Trailblazer making his way up, but they're not worried about Cujo. He doesn't fight anyway, as Frank's gonna have to toss the spike away. Down in time. There's the kill on Venice and onto Esperanto, bringing it all the way down to C16. We're gonna have to see if they're gonna be able to come online as the bomb is ticking, and they're gonna have to peek out of this smoke, potentially into loving arms of Demo. The tour de force in hand to be able to be an absolute menace from long. C16 paranoid on every corner. There's the incendiary from Franks to be able to make it a little more awkward. The laser pointer, they don't want to commit to this if they don't have to. Trying to hold the guns, and from the side, Franks is able to get a little bit of a ratty C16, bringing us on to match point.
Okay, sometimes I'm happy that, like, people can't see my face while I'm casting, because sometimes, like, when I'm talking, my face is, like, not very entertaining. But when my co-caster is talking and some crazy plays are happening, I do wish that everyone could see me, because the amount of times I throw my arms in the air and I'm just like, what is even happening? The double kill once again. Franks, the god of 1v2s, and with a sheriff no less in that round, single-handedly is just threading that needle and sewing a beautiful coat, the champion's coat, on the shoulders for Akuma, who are just
I've got your trail.
a phenomenal job in
Welcome to my
16's gonna try and keep him from it though, alongside Victoris.
Yeah, you blink and you miss it. We're down to Franks and Degrees in a 2 versus 5. They already used the Cabbage Patch. No Seekers gonna be available for next round. They won't have the tour de force for a while because Demo already used that to run around. But they're gonna have to try to go for some damage of any kind. UCD does not have a strong economy, so just a little bit will be going a long way getting through match point. As C16 is gonna be flirting with Dev, hopping on U-Haul, and there goes Various getting caught coming out of the smoke at the wrong time and flicking away Franks. No! C16 is gonna be capitalizing on that one as Degrees has to make a decision somewhere. And just before they can get their way across the threshold of that teleporter, Nick is gonna be bringing us to a 12-6.
Better late than never, UCD. If they'd have lost that round, you mentioned it, their economy would have been in shambles. And when you're staring down match point, that is just not where you want to be. This setup is going to be in favor for them as well. A lot of economy, equally as rough for the Akuma squad here. We are seeing some trepidatious buys going into this one. 2 rifles, but on Franks and Ahira, the rest on some pistols. So we'll see exactly how this is going to end up going, especially considering the Degrees might just be relying on that showstopper. Nice little jump from that Trailblazer to avoid some of those initial shots from Esperanto.
Looking like its own form of Neo for Halloween. That Trailblazer's just going to keep hopping around, being able to spot out bodies. And yeah, we just need to see it. Franks was a hero with a sheriff, had so many doubles right on last half, but is gonna get tagged almost completely out by Beniz to start us off, unfortunately. And we have all this util to be able to soon just take a very fast B site. UCD is not adjusting. They don't fear the call of Akuma on their door. Degrees with the showstopper. Flushes off from the site. Demo pushing the smoke, not quite able to clear Esperanto. And it's a 4 versus 5. And if anyone's gonna be able to run this, Frank's cannon. There's the showstopper landing on a Shattered, though. Making things look just a little bit more bleak for Akuma. You're gonna have to play post plant with the Molly versus Snake Bite onto the actual bomb, and they're not peeking the Molly. C16 pushes right on through. They have no fear as the paint shell is gonna be popping onto that bomb. Is able to tag a couple members. Just keeping it off as long as they can. Degrees a little bit too wiggly. We have Frank coming up here with a double dink with the classic. Not quite being enough to hold out this round, though.
Wow, and UCD keeping themselves in it just a little bit longer. You can tell that, like, since we saw Akuma get to that 11th point, they were like, okay, hold up. We've got to start turning this around. They're putting their serious faces on, and they're getting themselves into better and better spots here. Ahira looking a little bit rough. Did go down to 250 credits from that previous round. He's just going to go for a Sheriff into this one, so not matching the same buys as the rest of the squad, but when you got Demo on this operator, I think they're just hoping, you know, maybe Demo will get an early kill, we'll be able to push forward, and I'll just collect a gun off of one of the fallen. And that's going to be the strategy that they're hoping for, and especially Shadow's going to pick up an early pick on Nick. Those smokes are down from the defensive side, and that's got to be a great sign for Akuma.
Very, very strong signals are going to be making our way towards A. Sound the horn. We have the rest of the army coming up as Various able to grab Shattered. And C16 is able to grab Ahira. This might be as Esperanto will fall as well. C16 in a bad spot on Pocket Degrees. Nowhere dropping on them. Grabbing Various as well. Bringing Benes into this 1 versus 2. Into the long arm of the law. Demo having that op in hand. Has been absolute monster this entire time, showing off why Akuma has been able to run so many of these games so far. Absolute kaiju staring down the barrel, looking into Benes. This is going to get hairy. We see it. 13-7 going for Akuma. Shot rings true for Demo.
Au revoir.
This is just, it's kind of heartbreaking because UCD they got to 9 points, they got to 7 points, they're slowly falling back, but they're doing a good job of at least making these closer and competitive matches, and it's hard for me to see them be so close, and to actually see Nick at the top of this scoreboard, highest combat score in that game. Unfortunately, it's followed by 3 Akuma members, and they're just all absolute menaces. I mean, Degrees definitely deserves to be up there. Had some flashy plays, some of the best satchels that I've seen from Arrays in a while. I just felt like every single time I was like, oh, Degrees, you're in a bad spot. Degrees somehow had an understanding of, oh, I've got a satchel here. It's always impressive when you get to see those satchel plays come through from Arrays, reposition into safety. And then again, Franks just had some insane shoot downs, 1v2 situations. Ahira holding it down great with the Viper. And Akuma just looking like a well-oiled machine altogether. Shattered top of the board from last round into bottom of the board this round, but it doesn't matter. The flashes were there. You're seeing that initiator pickup really mattering for Akuma, and it's all, again, just coming together. Peanut butter and jelly, they're a full sandwich ready to go into our game number 3.
Look, Becky, you doing my job for me, my friend.
Sorry.
Just,
they said I wanted to say after that game.
Nah, they said everything I wanted to say. Absolutely, indeed. Just the falling back, you do see it. It's like you said, 13-9 first game, 13-7 this game. Maybe game 3 is going to be 13-5. If that's any foreshadowing. It's kind of insane. But we're gonna let him cool off for just a moment. We'll be right back. Take a quick break before we get back into this all important match point game 3. So see you in a second. here we are, game number 3. Backs against the wall. Can UCD pull it out and give us to a game 4 and start the reverse sweep angle starts right now, guys. It's just a matter of can they do it? Do they have the mental fortitude to do it? It's on Ascent, and I know we've talked about Ascent multiple times, but of all the deciding maps, it would have to be this one, huh?
It does feel like this is kind of like the litmus test of Valorant. I feel like Ascent is one of the oldest maps, it's one of the most common competitive maps, and so it does feel fitting that this is like the third map. Unfortunately, the part that scares me about this map, it is Akuma's pick, and I just feel like the way that we see Demo lurk is going to be so impactful on this map, and I just imagine Demo picking up that chamber once again, and just I'm just really scared of what Demo is going to do in this game. And unless we get to see Benes continue, Benes is doing such a great job, first
Such a
of all,
great job.
of like trying to keep up with Demo and just like barely coming short every single time. But it's going to be a battle of the chambers once again, I think. And that's going to be a huge thing for us to watch out for in this game.
Yeah,
I mean,
I absolutely agree. Yeah.
There's also just so many more chokes on Ascent that I'm worried about that pocket holding once again, especially when we're seeing Franks pop off with so many double spray downs or double sheriff taps.
It's,
Like,
the man is actually insane.
oh,
Like, he should not have gotten away with a lot of those situations, but he did it because he's Big Daddy Franks, apparently. And, I mean, like, did I predict Akuma to win? Absolutely. Did I think it was going to be this close? No, I didn't. So now I'm like, it's not really, like, to the point where I'm like, they're out of gas. They're not going to finish up the series. I still think they have what it takes to push it all the way through, get that 3-0. UCD, however, they're showing so many good signs of brilliance and so many great plays that they can do. It's just, can they tighten all the bolts in time? Can they get on the same game plan soon enough? Or, I mean, is this just going to be Akuma's night? I mean, because look, right now, their league team playing in Unified right now, they're doing pretty dope too. So I'd like to think the org would want this Valorant squad to do the same and be a good night all around wherever games they play. It's just, man, they just got to put that stamp on it, mail it away, and just call it a night. And I have to ask you guys, is this just going to be the 3-0, or is there an angle where UCD does bring us to a game number 4?
I think this is going to be same game shipping.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I want to believe in UCD so bad. Again, I feel like they've been so close. They've put up a lot more competitive games than we initially anticipated. But I do think that Ascent is just a map that the prowess that Akuma has is going to really shine through and ultimately give them this final game. But I would be very pleasantly happy if I get proven wrong. So UCD, I want to see it.
Yes, yep, I totally believe it. I totally want to see it too. Will this be the Akuma 3-0, or will UCD pull it off? I'm gonna step away, let y'all do what y'all do as we get into game number 3 between Akuma Esports and UCD Gold.
Yeah, it would be really nice to be able to see the Kings bleed as we're making our way onto Ascent. Once again, C16 on that raise. Various gonna be putting a spell on us with that fade once again. Hopefully they're gonna be able to show out with it, but Astra is the interesting pickup for me so far into Frank's flirting with the idea of an Omen. Any thoughts on this matchup so far?
Ooh, I mean, I personally think that Astra fits very well on this map. There's a lot of choke points where the Astral Pole matters a lot. The Concuss can do some great things, as well as being one of the faster smoke deployers aside from Brimstone. It just works a little bit better, as well as some really great ultimate situations that you can pull off with that Cosmic Divide. So I am excited by the Astra pick, but I do think that Omen is just a little bit less brain power, and that's not a bad thing to say because there is a lot of equity gained if you don't have to worry about a lot of complex things like you have to do on Astra. You really get to rely on gunplay, which is something that Franks has been showing off very well, and so I like going for this Omen pick. I don't have to worry about smokes, I don't have to worry about so many things, and I can really rely on that strength here, whereas Nick is going to be hoping to rely on utility more than gunplay.
Yeah. I feel like that's a very good breakdown, Franks, like we've been saying and freaking out about in the booth this entire time. Getting these double spray downs and just living through situations that they have no right to get through. Omen does complement that very well, but we're gonna have to see what happens. We have a bit of a duelist difference. Degrees opting for that jet and C16 on the raise. Those are two very different paces for this map.
Yeah, and I do think that I like C16 going for that raise over the jet. I feel like they felt a little bit more comfortable on the raise. Unfortunately, it just feels like C16 is going to struggle to keep up with Degrees, so maybe this is a good opportunity. Play a completely different duelist that's going to function under different access and not have the forced to completely try to be compared to Degrees time and time again.
Yeah, I feel like it's hard to avoid those comparisons as Esperanto getting these aggressive peeks back and forth. No shots landed, no ground gained, but none lost quite yet as we're just gonna tap back and forth. Kuma is doing a very good job of just being completely spread across this map. Benez with the headhunter in hand is whiffing almost everything. Caught mid-teleport. Couldn't snap those fingers fast enough as Various is gonna fall as well. Followed by Esperanto at the hands of Ahira. This is not where you want to be if you're C16 tagged away by Demo through the wall. It's all down to Nick in a 1 versus 5. The Ghost is not out. That's a perfect start for Akuma.
Perfect start and kind of a rough situation as well. We did actually see a little bit of a disconnect coming out from Various. It is reconnected now, so hopefully that won't be the most detrimental thing that we've seen on this day. The side of Akuma, fully able to buy up here. A lot of Spectres, full armor. Akira is going to go for that Bulldog, and we've seen those Bulldogs come out for Akuma players time and time again and have been absolutely menaces with them. I'm personally a big Bulldog fan too, so I'm excited to see a team like Akuma go ahead and utilize that little bit of extra punch power on these attacking sides, and excited to see Akira on the Silva get to be the one to utilize it.
Yeah, if we're gonna be talking about our favorite guns though, things are looking a little bit mucky for UCD lately, so I want to see someone Kappa Bucky bust a couple sluggies and try to be able to take back this map as Demo is just wreaking havoc on this round, being able to take out Various at the start. The rest of his team's over on A, but Spectre will be going into the hands of Esperanto at the moment here should they take it. C16, the shorty, not quite there. They rolled a 4 on the D20, but Nick, good for the tag onto Ahira, not quite able to get the follow-up onto Degrees, but Penez with the head up, just need to land one, but Shattered going to be taking away that opportunity. It's brought all the way back to Esperanto and Nick, who has the Bulldog in hand now. So this might get just a little bit dicey as they're just going to start making their way through. Tree, a beautiful smoke, getting placed by Franks. These have just been such good locations. He'll toss him through the wall bank, not quite there. Nick's able to grab Shattered, but Esperanto will fall. It's down to them. Classic in hand, but they flicked just a little bit too far away. So Frank's able to come out on top and bring this Bulldog back.
Okay, but not the worst anti-buy round that we've seen from UCD. They were able to take out 3 out of the 5 players from Akuma who are not going to be able to really buy up going into this one, or at least have the intentions to save going into the next round. We are going to see, yeah, it looks like a Sheriff, some Ghosts, and yeah, Bulldog and Spectre from the previous round. So they are going to be really on the back foot even more than we've seen previously going into this one. But if we see this lineup from C16 and Benners as Paranoia comes out, things could get a little rough, but let's deploy it. Paint shells coming out. We are going to see some there for the trade. Ahira coming online as well.
And there we have it. The Paranoia didn't quite land, but there's so much space, and this Various caught in the back of this site. Tagged by an owl. He gets sprayed down and just dashed to ribbons as Esperanto able to grab Degrees, but this might just be shut in your face as soon as it's going to start this fragment lineup. Gonna keep grabbing Ahira as they were starting to plant. This is a lot more winnable. A 2 versus 2. Esperanto and Nick have been able to cause a little bit of damage in the past round. So I'm excited to see what they're going to be bringing out here, as here we have the plant from Franks. And another one of these one-ways coming out with the dark cover if Demo wants to peek it, but just gonna keep it nice and slow, crawling their way up. That's the alarm bot going off. in the face of Nick as Esperanto's making their way up lane. There's the gravitation well, there's flash
One
gonna get
enemy
blocked for him.
remaining.
As Demo's gonna be able to peek and take Nick through the box and spray down Esperanto. It's two players once again staying alive for Akuma, but picking up rifles for this one.
Oh, all right. Also, Franks is showing, if you're an Omen player, or really any Smokes player, you gotta be taking notes on some of these smokes that Franks has used in this game. Already, like, that one on B, something that I haven't seen all too often, something that you could be using yourself in your solo queue games. Be taking some notes, because Akuma is giving us a whole rule book here. And also something that I want to mention that we talked about, we expected to see the double chambers, team chambers, and actually Demo is on this Killjoy, but as you mentioned, is still being a menace. Bennett going for a nice backup here. There he is. He is going to pick up Shattered. Ultimately, though, that robot
Just like any tech problem, just turn it on and off again as Degrees is going to be
Spike
shutting
planted.
Various off in market. Smokes are going to be coming back up on the flank. It might be getting a little bit spicy with C16. Was able to grab Demo over there, but Degrees is going to be staring down. The bodies out here is good for the frag on Nick.
Last
All down to
player
Venice was
standing.
not able to get that going, and C16 not much better for where his Degrees coming out with a 4K.
Very nice 4K and 4 rounds for Akuma, who are coming in hot to this game. Number 3, 2-0, looking to just try and close it all out. So far, a lot of strategies being deployed here that are working out very well. They've had an aggressive strategy come forward, as well as just a lot of utility usage, like things like those one-way smokes, those nice lineups, as well as some very cool grenade lineups coming out from the KO as well. It's all just showing up very nicely.
You should run.
Now this is an interesting decision that we're seeing from the defensive side of UCD here.
UCD has been full of interesting, desperate decisions, and this is no exception. We have C16 getting ready to be on the backline as Esperanto. They were able to grab Franks. That's one of our main clutch players that out here is going to die through a box. And that's an unfortunate place to be in. The Shatter's going to be trying to do what Franks did best. Bennett will be taking Shattered out, and Degrees is just waiting for the rest to spray that one down. Bennett is able to grab Degrees right after, and the head tap from Demo onto Various. But C16 through Generator, not what you want to see for Akuma, but the Kings do bleed sometimes. It's 1-4 going into this next round.
All right. And we're starting to see this little bit of a fallback. Blade Storm ready for Degrees, so is just going to really hold on to the 6K in the back pocket. Same wavelength here as Bennett goes ahead and pops that Tour de Force. So full save's going to be able to come out from those two players. C16 does have that showstopper ready, and considering a lot of the cubbies and chokeholds on this map, that could wreak some big havoc here. Same kind of idea though. Ahira does have that Hunter's Fury, so a lot of ultimates that are going to start being able to run a havoc on this map. Starting off Hunter's Fury, dealing damage to Varys and Esperanto. Finds just that first one onto Various, so that damage will stick onto that KO.
It's a huge health swing right at the start. Benez ended up getting sneakily taken out alongside that too. And this is an unfortunate spot for UCD to be in. They committed 2 players into mid, right in harm's way of a lot of these spray downs, but Akuma has so much space to work with now, and they're just going to start creeping their way up and trying to take a chokehold of the rest of this game, as we were hearing the bomb buddy tap back and forth for C16. And it's only a matter of time before they decide to pull the trigger on something.
Yeah, I do have to applaud the patience that is happening from the UCD squad here. Losing those 2 members early, making the decision to just hold tight corners, and across the map just trying to listen for some audio cues, gather information as best as possible when a lot of their agents are not really information based, save for that KO. And
30 seconds left.
Tried to play safe.
No
They're going to
charges
hear
left.
it coming out now as that tailwind and Cloudburst.
But the shut down
A.
into Paint Shell's dropping
I got
bomb.
this.
You'd love to see it. Here's the Blade Storms coming out for Generator, but let's talk about that weapon swap for a second. Degrees tossing the spike to Franks,
Placing swamp
grabbing
grenade.
the Vandal from him, trading off that op. Could pay off huge here as we have it in the hands of Demo, who's been running that chamber this entire time. Degrees caught under hell as Utah's being jumped back and forth, almost straight down completely. Catches Esperanto while they're flashed by their own
player
drive.
standing.
And Demo will seal it off with Nick going out like the dodo.
Yeah, rough a spot to be there. Nice trade-off between those weapons, as you mentioned, and Degrees finishes it all up, comes back to Demo to pick up that operator, back into that Jet's hands, and we might just be seeing a nice little peek out into mid here with that operator, and the rest of the team to kind of follow it up. Demo doing a great job on this Killjoy. This is a change that we have been seeing, and now is just going to continue to be a little bit of a menace. Try to use this chicken as a little bit of a decoy, try to get some early picks, watch these angles while the other team's trying to get some long-range shots, and the other half of the team is trying to get some long-range shots, and face down this broken buy. A lot of people buying up into those pockets for the defensive side, and Stinger in hand. Keep up.
Yeah, shots going wide as C16 is going to bring all their baby ducklings back home, trying not to get them cold. Out here, narrowly dodging the bomb buddy. Off by Various, though, the shots aren't quite going off. There's Esperanto with a random head tap, taking them out. C16 is able to grab out here after, but the rest of UCD is falling apart. Nick is going to be trying to hold tree with whatever they have left as they shoot out the knife. And they know you're there, playing right up by that window pane. Now as the bomb's gonna go
Spike
down,
planted.
the door is now closed, and it's a 2 versus 4 for UCD. Things are looking just a little bit bleak as wall banks are gonna go out, not land anywhere quite yet. And it seems like we have Demo playing lineup Larry onto A for a minute here as Bennett is in that smoke, hang out in the dark cover with that op. And Demo heard the spray from Nick. Clearing this out, he's gonna be dying. Curiosity killed the Nick as we're gonna be seeing Bennett try to save this up. It's gonna be taken away from them right at the goalpost by Shattered, though.
And this is kind of exactly what I was worried about. We've been seeing the decline in rounds 1 by UCD the further that we've gotten into this series. And this is the most that we've been able to see Akuma win without some fight back from UCD. And I really am just feeling a little bit rough for UCD. Various bottom of the board here does have Nightfall ready, but the buy is going to have to be a save for this round. They're buying up Marshals. They're hoping to get lucky with some headshots along with those Barracks, but it's just a rough series, a rough set, time and time again for the UCD squad.
Yeah, Kuma is just starting off the way with a headhunter, not quite landing on a Shattered. And that's a lot more this B site opened up. C16 is gonna get taken out by Franks. Marshall shot not even landing on the body. That's no damage for their shot, for their death. And this entire map is now Akuma's for the taking, as they're going to be starting to push up into Various. Once again, who's holding this angle with a Marshall, waiting for someone to peek out, going to try to get that head tap, but it might not be enough. In a second, the Haunt's going to come out and get the spot out. These 2 members of Akuma almost immediately. Flash Rise coming out, they're starting to stomp their way, and Demo learned headshot is super effective for taking this side of the map, as Esperanto is trying to make a last stand in market with his Sheriff in hand. Akuma's gonna not frag hunt right now. It's a 2 versus 5. The door is getting shut right in their face.
1 enemy remaining.
And Frank's taking its head off. They're gonna just run and gun Esperanto for another perfect round. 1-7. We're gonna be able to get into some gun rounds in a second again.
And all of a sudden, Franks is going to be continuing to be a menace on this Omen as well. Just so on point with all of this utility that we're getting to see. And there's something beautiful about the full spread that we've been able to see from the Akuma squad, who have been able to have a different player shine every single game. And there's something to be said also for even if a player's at the bottom of the board, I still am going into a lot of these rounds and being like, wow, utility usage great, and crosshair placement on point, and just seeing time and time again some great plays, even from players bottom of the board for the team.
Very interesting pick from UCD though. C16 is gonna get caught by the flash drive for it. They sent all their team mid and left this A site into the hands of Akuma. Those are some dastardly clutches to deal with though, as all of UCD is making their way through tree. Doors broken, Degrees looking to intercept them. Prowler almost shoots out.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, they're shattered though, bringing 4 down with them. That is insane, having them around to be able to support Degrees there.
Oh, and Shattered, like, previously when we saw Shattered pick up the KO, Shattered had also ended up top of the board for that first map of Breeze. So it makes sense that now all of a sudden back on the KO, 13-4, insane KDA to go along with this 8-1 for the Akuma squad, and has the null command ready going into this one, and put that alongside Demo, who has that lockdown here. They're just being able to play these default 3-2 situations time and time again, and since every single one of these players is just doing so phenomenal, it just feels like they're going to run all over this game until we start to see something make magic for the UCD squad.
It looks like that magic's gonna be trying to be C16 in line, but the fragment from Esperanto did not end up cracking the lockdown. Menace is gonna have to deal with Shattered no commanding, but the judge comes out just as they're no longer locked down, and a stinger spray going wide, catching out Various. You hate to see this for UCD, but Nick's able to get the side of it.
Last player standing.
Waste it. Frank's Ferrari peeking Esperanto. A little bit bad-mannered as it's all down to Nick's able to grab Frank's, but almost, but not quite able to get Ahira with the flick as well.
Oh, another heartbreaking round for UCD. Damage done to pretty much everyone on the Akuma squad, just not being able to finish any of those kills off, not take down any of those players. And just like that, Akuma 9-1 and room to just run through this. The first map of Breeze, we saw 6-6 half between these two teams. Then we watched it go to a 9-3 half, and we got to see a little bit more of a fight after the switch, but I would be happy at this point to see UCD be able to find these final 2 rounds and find themselves that 9-3 once again.
Yeah, right now we're hoping the curse is real. We want to see more of this fate, as Menace is not going to get the first shot off. Unfortunately, with the off, Degree is going to be leading the charge, stomping their way. Tailwind is up. And Esperanto pumping on flash right back. Not able to spray through his smoke. Degree peeks straight into the spray, though, and into the loving arms of Franks. Nick's able to grab Shattered. Menace getting the off shot onto Franks, being able to solidify this a little bit more. We got the tether. We got one body caught, but no one's able to peek Generator. No bullets left to the for Nick, and they're able to spray down Demo off the reload, and that's a wonderful round for UC to pick up, trying to be able to get a couple rounds on this board, go into the next
round in the half
with something.
And I mean, okay, yeah, that round, great. They've got to try and do it again now, and basically off of that last win, they're able to continue to be able to fully buy to at least match what Akuma is bringing to the table. We were maybe gonna see 2 operators, but Menace actually is gonna say, no, I don't really need to buy a gun. I'm just gonna rely on the tour de force, and hopefully that will be more than enough if I'm able to get a kill. Okay, at least has the Guardian to fall back on. That's gonna be the buy as decision there. Cosmic Divide ready as well, which I believe Nick has had ready for a lot of rounds, and he's not deploying. The Fury gets attacked. Menace won't be able to tour de force, won't be able to Guardian, is off of the map. Where are you?
Such a strong ult to be able to drop. Menace has been very good about his op shots, so not just having this ult to be able to continue to keep things in their favor. Degree is low off of the random straight through the smoke, but it doesn't matter. Aggressive push is able to grab the smoke. Various able to get themselves onto the board once again, grabbing Degree, get that trade back. The 3-4 for bodies on around C16. If they find a pick somewhere, we can see the showstopper come out. There's the Cosmic Divide. They don't want to deal with the back of Boathouse. Prowler to be able to close off B main. We know all the members are right here. We have to start shoving.
One enemy remaining.
C16, bring it all the way down to Nick, who will fall to the cross spray.
Akuma have been able to find
Switching sides.
themselves a win despite an even half. Getting that 9-3 curse, nothing has stopped these demons in this game. And now double digits before the half, well, at the half, I suppose, and being able to just potentially get themselves a pistol round into a buy-up and get themselves onto that match point. Demo setting up on this defensive side, and we've been seeing Demo be absolutely menacing on the chamber. And something scares me a little bit more about the Killjoy, especially on this map. The information that can be gathered, the amount of impact so far across the map that can happen is just going to be a little bit difficult for UCD to handle.
Yeah, and we're seeing the early shock bolt at the ready from Ahira. If they peek this turret to be able to guarantee some damage, and there we go, and pops, and immediately is able to tag just a little bit onto Nick. Not too much because they're being very flighty about this early round, but Shatter's going to be making things a little bit dicey, pushing with Franks, shutting out Esperanto. A lot of utility you're now missing. The Lombard's going to be spotting out Various and C16 on their charge through mid, trying to get the beat, have to spray down the door, be able to get with the rest of the team to try and make something happen. Here comes the haunt. Get more information. It was shot out before we got much of anywhere. Degrees ready to dash him with the tailwind. Finds one reloading, but Nick shut everyone out. Hira gonna be falling to Nick as well. It's a 2 versus 3. Frank's good in the 1v2. Let's see if in the 2v3 with Shattered though. As there we have it. Now all around the 1v1, and Nick cools that cucumber. He's able to bring this one home for UCD.
Okay, very nicely done from Nick, and you know, I've got to call it out. Nick is top of the board, but on a round where there was only like 1 star purchase, it's the round that we get to see Nick pick up 3 kills. And that's one of the things that I think is a huge difference, especially for certain people who aren't maybe as used to playing Astra compared to something like the Omen, is you spend so much time in that Astral form preparing a lot of that utility, and you don't spend as much time with your strength that is picking up those kills. Whereas Frank's is able to very easily UI, do that, and still be able to see people, set those up. But very nice start here. Done on the site. That's the explosive you're wanting to see on your headshot.
1 enemy remaining.
Various with the flicks on the Bulldog though to start closing us off alongside Nick. Beautiful blast packs from C16 though to open that with the gravitation well from, I believe, from Nick?
Yeah, there were a lot of things happening in that round very quickly. I do like the combination that we were getting to see from Various and Nick, as you mentioned, between both of those, like the Haunt, as well as then being able to find where you have to place certain astral abilities. And if we can see that level of coordination, it's going to be a lot harder to do. These rounds get a little bit crazier as the weapon gets a little better. But if we can still at least try to see that make it all happen, I think that we're going to see UCD at least get a few rounds back under their belt.
Yeah, I'm just happy to see UCD going back to the roots of Game 1, being completely fanned out and just playing this slow. It's night and day difference from their Ascent game where they're, not their Ascent game, their Bind game, where they're just throwing space away at every turn as the Albatross is able to spot one out. Degrees might be looking just a little bit anxious, dropping the Cloudburst by the bottom of Cat, and things could come to a head if they just get a little bit more aggressive. They have Shattered right there. They have Franks. The support system is there if they want to start putting UCD in the hot seat all over again. But we're just watching these rounds tick down and tick away.
Yeah, 40 seconds left, and I don't know if I'm liking or disliking this strategy. The last time that we saw UCD do it, they kind of just fell into an explosion.
30 seconds left.
Face your fear!
To play against them. But this time they have the Nightfall. They're able to deny a lot of audio. Tag team players, unfortunately, Victoris does push right into Frank time and time again.
One enemy remaining.
Menace with these shots, and just like that, the explosion into Akuma once more finds them that 11th round. I'm really scared for this UCD squad. Their buy is gonna be broken going into this one. Victoris is buying a ghost and full armor, which feels like probably one of the like stabbing myself in the side buys I can think of. It's really rough. The two rifles that are heading this for UCD on Nick and C16 could potentially be good. Unfortunately, that Raze is often dying in a place that makes that rifle really hard to pick up when your blast packing in. So it's hard to have a hero rifle on a character that is usually dying in the hands of as that happens. Akuma able to up those 2 kills. Both of those rifles are down, and like we mentioned, there's more Akuma players on those guns than
Last player.
Just like that, they fall. Akuma did not come to mess around and are trying to have a more impressive score line here than any of those previous rounds. What in the world do we even need to see from UCD?
Get Demo off of your flank. Coming off of Cat was able to just immediately mow down 2 members. Sure, they were able to pick up Shattered through the smoke, but not worth it when you have a rabid KJ on your back. They've just lost their ability to manage their own tempo as they're going into this. I think they're just starting to crack under the pressure of this rematch. As Esperanto, they're having their own little lover squirrel with Shattered with those knives going back and forth. Degrees is able to tailwind away from their own responsibilities here. C6 is trying to blast back it up. He's able to get the trade back for Victoris though. As Franks and Shattered were seen falling A main to Benez and Esperanto. But we still have 2 very strong players
Spike
with
planted.
Util coming up in just a moment. Ahira and Demo both looking very strong so far. We're gonna keep it nice and together, try to be able to get a couple picks, see what can happen. And we're just gonna wait for people to get anxious.
I mean, that has kind of worked in the past. Squads are trying to do it once again. On the ground, but we're not finding anything.
One enemy
Demo
remaining.
First, immediately stopped for that jump. Very nice positioning from C16. Great peek at the right time, and 5-12. I mean, I'm happy that they're able to find a round, but this is still, there's just such an uphill battle that has to be
One
had.
second, peeps.
I'm looking
I
at
gotta
the
visit the
ultimates that
Astral
are
to
ready
play some
for
stars.
Akuma here, and I'm looking at the ultimates that are ready for this UCD squad, and I mean, it's great to have this Cosmic Divide ready, but I feel like we never even saw Nick use it on the defensive side, so hopefully we get to see it used on this attacking side, and that it gets
You want to play? Let's
some
play.
of that audio, and that knife very nicely behind that owl drone. So an okay start as far as
You are
utility
divided!
rating is concerned early into this, as that Cosmic Divide does happen.
Missing another shot, dodging another flash. Esperanto, though, gonna be making sure to punish Degrees' aggressive positioning. As the rest of the team making their way through A into Franks with a double spray down.
Spike down
Immediately
A.
finding those heads. That's bomb in hands of Akuma. Once again, that's not where you want to be. Ahira gonna be on the prowl, trying to get up behind him as Frank able to get over on the round. Has to flick to the trademark. It's caught by the tour de force. But here's the no command. You don't have a rifle anymore. Down to Nick, able to try to salvage this for just a little bit longer. Menace was able to scavenge something somewhere for it. Bring it down to Ahira on this flank. We have all the information from Shattered, but Nick has a sneaking suspicion. Some call it spyanoia, but either way, it got us another round for UCD.
Another round. Unfortunately, that round does only equal half the points of Akuma, but the resources that were spent into that round are outweighing the amount of resources that Akuma spent. UCD utilized 2 ultimates. Only 1 really got utilized from Shattered in that previous round, and just like that, Akuma 1 away from that Hunter Fury,
Who will I
Blade
spot
Storm
first?
lockdown, and from the Shadows ready. Unfortunately, some of those ultimates are a little less impactful than others, and see anything other than Blade Storm utilized, but that's more than enough to start off this round in favor here.
Braun was able to stomp one down. Demo not quite able to be the Sheriff Demon. We saw Franks, but that's okay. That's not what this round's for. We're going to be trying to do a little bit of damage. It's a 2
Last
versus
player
5. Just want
standing.
to get a couple bodies out.
Spike
And
planted.
Nick making sure to shut that door before they can bleed anything. They don't have the room to work with otherwise.
Okay, so they've gotten themselves to 7-12. The 7-12 was where Akuma were able to bring it back, close it out
I got enough time
last
to go into
time.
the Astro Form.
But we're actually seeing this little bit of fight coming out from UCD. 3 rounds strung together in a row, continuing to hold economy pretty strong and buy up. It's just hard. Your economy doesn't matter when if you lose 1 round, you're out. And when you're out here, you're out for good. It will be the 3-0 for Akuma.
Without a
and
star,
they
I
get to
cannot.
move on
Obscuring
into the
vision.
grand final. So while the economy is still pretty strong, it really is
concussing
just
him.
not something that matters as much for the UCD squad.
Here's the Hunters. Fury, though, from Ahira. He'll tag C16 as Franks and Shadow were able to get their kills. Again, this power couple running amok on Ascent. Having such beautiful use of util, playing together. We have the Shadowed Step. A little bit of noise, confusing everyone. C16 can't do their blast packs for just a little bit longer. There's a 3 versus 5 trying to get some space. The demo will be falling to Various. That's 1 popped onto A. Nick able to get Franks from the back. Here comes the Nightfall. Akuma's gonna have to face their fears of being exercised, because right now it's looking like UCD is not afraid of no ghost as they're making their way onto A. Barry's gonna get caught up by Shattered, and now the 2v3 making their way into the late stage of the C16, and Nick got a lot of utilities. They saw 1 from Ahira, able to go back and forth, but Nick's out of bullets, and that's
Defenders
7-13 once again in favor of Akuma for 3rd match in a 3rd game in a row.
Oh my goodness, what a set of games. They all felt close despite the win still going to Akuma, and I know Crow's got to be doing the little happy bounces like I'm feeling pretty good about my pick as we're going grand finals for Akuma. Holy smokes, you weren't kidding about this team.
Look, with the name like Akuma, you gotta be killers. There's just no other way to put it. This organization, in every game they touch, they just absolutely smash it with their teams. More often than not, they always do. They always will be placing in the top of the table, even if they don't take the trophies. But hey, they're setting up. Like you said, dating the grand finals. Oh, they're looking to make it just absolute Akuma all day long. The 3-0 was the expected result. We thought UCD could put up a better fight to maybe make this a 5-game series, maybe make this a 4, but in the end, it was just a 3-0 off of just sheer dominance coming out from Akuma.
Yeah, Akuma, their aim was on fire. Can we talk about that power couple just a little bit more? Franks and Shattered. I don't think I saw those two away from each other for more than maybe 45 seconds because one of them got dropped in the middle of a round. And
Okay,
It's
so you're
it's
calling
literally
them a
insane.
power
It's
couple over and
literally
over
insane.
again, and I think that a big part of calling them a power couple is the roles that they were playing for this team time and time again. We were always seeing Franks on either like a controller or an initiator, and then we were always seeing Shattered on an initiator that had those flashes to go along with it. And those are 2 really complementary roles because you have so much kind of work around the vision that your opponents can get. And as a result, you said it, power couple, they go in, they use their utility well together. That synergy was coming through so beautifully, is a huge part of why Akuma won all of these games 3-0, and just beautifully done. And they just have like this nice little cherry on top that is degrees and being able to just play a duelist in such a fancy fashion and get some great kills to go along with that nice controller and initiator duo.
Man, got some great kills indeed. That was just oh my god, just I feel like in game three they were really just trying to wrap it up. They're like, all right, come on, let's go. We got to
Yeah,
get moving. I
it
got to
felt
go
like they were.
somewhere. They were just over it by that point. But man, they were doing a really good job of just clinching it out, getting that 3-0. We're going to throw it to a quick break though. But when we come back, we actually will have an interview with one of Akima's players. So stay tuned for a little bit more insanity coming up from here in VLS. All right, and just like that, the crew is back with a no face. We actually have with us Shattered from Akuma, and just yeah, how you feeling after those games, man?
I'm feeling great. I'm glad that we were able to put this 3-0 together. Feeling confident going into the finals, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. And my lovely caster is going to ask some questions. By all means, who's up first?
I'm gonna take the first question. So I don't know if you've looked at the two teams that you're potentially gonna play against. Which one of them are you, one, more afraid to play against, and then two, of those two that you're potentially going to be playing against, why are you potentially afraid of playing against that team?
Of course, I've looked at the two teams. I want to play against ODG
Okay.
because they trash talked my teammate in ranked.
Oh,
Lord,
okay, okay.
the
Ooh.
revenge angle.
So I'm gonna put them down.
Okay,
Love it,
okay.
love it.
That's a good enough reason. A little bit of a grudge match to go along with it. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Loki, got any questions?
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna go a little bit back more towards the present or the past. Y'all completely stomped out UCD previously in that 2-0. Were you nervous about potentially losing a game to them since y'all are on that undefeated streak so far?
Not at all. We haven't dropped a single map in this so far.
Love the confidence going into games like this where you've pretty much already proved that you were the top of the line and just gonna coast from there, it seems. But let's talk about that gameplay with, especially with Frank's having that mind behind some of those amazing smokes and those 1v2s. How did you feel supporting him through some of those clutch situations.
Yeah, of course. I've got great teammates around me. Frank's our chemistry is incredible. I feel like it's like no other.
It definitely reads that way watching the two of you play. How impactful do you think that chemistry is, especially between the roles that you play? Because I noticed that you are usually playing a lot of that initiator. We're usually seeing Frank's on a controller role. And do you think that that chemistry would be the same if you were playing different roles, either something like a sentinel or a duelist?
I think that playing initiator chemistry is really important. You gotta be able to communicate with your teammates and set them up with good plays. And I think that the other initiator and everybody on the team is great at setting everybody up, and we're rolling.
Loving it, loving to hear it. Oh my goodness. Look, I came into this when I saw the spread for summer. I saw that Akuma was on the docket, and I'm just like, bro, they're gonna win. Like, knowing, having casted you guys in more so the League of Legends landscape, knowing how this org always has heavy hitting teams. How confident were you guys coming into this league saying, yeah, we can make it to finals easy?
We know we're gonna win.
Love it, love it. Thank you so much for being on the desk with us and answering a few questions after that series. We also now have to go over to the MVP of the series, which is Ahira, after everybody did their voting. And I think we could unanimously agree, or if there are any other discussions that someone else should have gotten the spot.
Uh, I mean, us on the desk, we were very impressed with Frank's. There were quite a few rounds where I feel like Frank's single-handedly in 1v2 situations managed to get both spray downs and double dinks with sheriffs that just like any other person in those situations, Loki and I don't think would have been as much of a menace. So we were given big props to Frank's. Frank's is where my vote went personally. I know Shattered, you're still in this call. You did phenomenal, but Frank's just had a few moments that literally had me throwing my hands up in the air. Not on camera. Wish people could have seen my face. You'd understand the absolute shock that I
I
was
saw it.
enduring
I
from
saw
some
it
of
all.
them.
Beautiful
Yes,
So,
Crow with his crystal ball
man.
was able to gaze into the shiny
It was
rocket
just
and
like,
just see Becky.
it was
yeah,
insane.
just
Literally
being
insane.
absolutely floored from basically all the phenomenal plays that everyone was doing. But yeah, chat has given those votes over. Congratulations to Ahira for getting that. Well, excuse me, Ah1 Ra, as we were told, was actually the correct pronunciation of their name, is going to be the MVP of tonight's match.
I love that copy pasta, by the way. It was absolutely amazing. But yes, the big A had amazing ultimates throughout. I mean, just great positioning, being where they needed to be whenever it was necessary, and always was, sitting near that top of the board. Um, but yeah, like just such a great team of players, just a great squad altogether. I'm still sticking with my prediction of them taking the whole thing, taking the title and everything to boot, but that will have to be decided next week as I don't believe we have the results of our other series yet. Um, I don't know if we can get that confirmed by production or not, but it was 3-0, expected result. The games were still very entertaining to watch. It was never just a complete washing throughout the entire of the 3-0, and there were some situations where it could have gone the other way potentially. But at the end of the day, Akuma stands tall, taking their place in the finals. And yeah, I mean, any last words from my casters?
Congratulations, Akuma, and I look forward to seeing y'all next week.
I'm excited to watch what comes next, and I want to see more of Frank's hitting those shots like an absolute demon and Degree with that hard hat saving himself from shorties.
Absolutely. That will have to be for next week as we are going to be here, I believe, same time, if not earlier. Y'all check the socials, get in the Discord, follow the Twitter, all stay up to date with everything happening with Victoris. But from myself and the rest of the broadcast team, we wish you guys a good, safe night, and we'll see you next time.